Ooh. All right, guys, so make sure to tune into the last 15 minutes because we will be going over every stock that we do cover on this channel. If you're not watching it live, go back to the last 15 minutes of this video because we'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. We were talking about some stuff, and then my internet actually went out. So it was my internet that was the problem. Maybe the internet's the overall problem I'm having here, not the computer, because this computer is great. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, nice graphics card, all that good stuff. So not too worried about that. Now, you are getting a sell signal on Meta. Just wanted to bring that up. Once people trickle in here, we'll keep talking about, how I was able to make money throughout this bullish run. That's what we'll talk about, and how you can use the things that you do learn in the course, even though it's at the end giving you a strategy for a bear market where volatility has to be above 20. The things that you learn in the beginning part about the indicators, and if you really understand them, that's why I encourage you to watch the videos twice, and go back and reference stuff even while you're trading, because we can see a lot of bullishness come in. So you have to have that understanding of the indicators of knowing, hey, where's the little bit of a beatdown? Where do I go a little bit higher here? Where would I pull back to? So this here would be something that we could pay attention to, right? We see that Meta Platforms is going up into the 20. Okay, so we would then pay attention this week. Where is that weekly range? If we're outside of the weekly range, I can start to just pull up a 2-hour. If the 2-hour starts to curl up, then I would see a push higher. If I want to be a little bit more risky with it, I could go into a 30-minute and notice this is barely getting into negative territory. If it's outside of that weekly range, then I could say, hey, if this actually does cross up, we could see a positive move. We could come and fill this gap. We could come up, try to test these highs. Okay, so that's overall, if you really understand the indicators, which is something that's the real goal of the course. It will be very useful. And then getting that strategy, that is for when things get more complicated. This is a very, very simple thing. And as people trickle back in, we'll go back to the SPY, and I'll show you guys how I made money throughout this entire run. Now, the SPY is breaking down to lower levels, right? So we're breaking down to lower levels. This is a good sign, but we are coming up into that daily expected move. So we could see some kind of reaction here. Vix is ready to pop again. Can I ask you how you prefer to trade a bearish market? Yeah, so the way that I trade a bearish market is literally the course. The course that I have down in the description is literally how I do it. It uses the weekly ranges, it uses the RSI, and it uses the MACD. I just have a very good understanding of these indicators, so I can make money both ways. So how you would actually make money, we'll maybe wait for a few more people to trickle in because it seemed like something people were interested in. But you'll notice that a lot of the time, if you try to use my bear market strategy, my bear market options strategy in a time like this, you can get faked out a ton because you can convince yourself of tons of divergences, right? We're going to get a ton of divergences. This one here actually crossed. You could have said this is divergence here. Boom, we get a trade into here. It goes the other way on you. So you have to be very careful in a bullish market. I'm literally the title now. Yeah, I kind of like that I put like a I forgot what I did last time. I forgot what I did last time, but it's like, oh, I'm getting trapped everywhere because I just thought it was funny. For 5 years, and it's always good to understand how other traders maneuver the market. Yes. So I'll show you guys now that a few people have trickled back in. I'll show you guys what we were talking about here on the 2-hour chart. So we were talking about, hey, this pulled back into the 50 right around here on the daily scale. Okay. So yeah, I reset the internet, and we'll hope that it lasts for the time being. So this actually beat down. Okay, so if I was using my bear market strategy, I would say, hey, there's divergence here, there's divergence here, this has to drop. But volatility is not above 20. Okay, so that's why we can't do it. But it doesn't mean you can't use the things that you learn in the course throughout this entire bullish run. You'll actually make a lot easier money in a bullish run. Okay, so what do? Well, now we can follow this price action up. If I'm not even in a trade yet, well, let's look at the price around here. Let's see this MACD here. It looks like it is pretty beat down, but where is it? It's in positive territory. So if this curls up, I could take one placement here and take one placement here, one position here, one position here. Guess what? I'm in this move now. It just went up from 459 all the way up to 473. I can get out of my position. I see slight divergence, more consolidation. Okay, now we're down towards the center line. This starts to cross up. Okay, now I take my call. All right, I take my call, boom, this goes up, we go up a little bit, we trail down, but guess what? We cross up one more time. Maybe this is your second position, boom, you're in this whole move. It's a lot simpler to the upside, so do not overthink it. And I wish Robert was in here because he's the one that asked the question. But that's just something you really need to pay attention to, because once you get close to the center line and you see these crossings, right? These crossings in positive territory, look at that strength. It's because you're in positive territory. Okay, so almost every time that you're near the center line and you get some kind of crossing up in here, you'll see that strength come in. And what you want to get good at is not just following these crossings, but maybe looking for down at this point. Let's go to, say, this beat down right in here. So this is a pretty good beat down. And then we see that cross into positive territory, but we want to look in here if there's any 15, 30-minute divergences at this level. We know you're at a point of support in here. We could see where that weekly range is. Maybe we came outside of that weekly range for a brief moment. We have that divergence. You can still use the things that you learn in the course in order to head higher. It's just a lot simpler. Crosses up. That's how a bullish run works. Every single time the 2-hour crosses, you're most likely going to see upside. And that upside is more, you're going to see more upside if you're like right at that center line. So you'll notice once we're at the center line, boom, we get an ABC pattern up. This is great, great money. You go from a price point of, let's say you bought at even this bar right here, where the actual crossing happened, you were able to hold through all this. Well, 2.9%. That's 13.65 points. Hey, guess what? If you actually took this trade, you bought a call around 478 or something like that, you're already in the money. You could even make a little bit of a money here if you're scared of anything. Hey, you see that drop off. Okay, let me wait for another crossing. Boom, it crosses positive territory, and look at that. So if you just play these crosses in a bull run towards that center line, which this is, this is the portion that you just have to learn. It's very, very simple in a bullish market. All you have to do is follow this type of thing right here. It's crosses. I'm going to see that positivity if I get a good beatdown. And this is very good news. You come up, you come down, you go up, you get into positive territory, you get even closer to the center line, you cross, boom. I know that this is going to most likely, from a probability perspective, go up because this is a bullish run right now. That's all you have to do on the way up. That's why the course teaches you about the bear market and a bear market strategy around all of these things, because a bear market strategy is very useful because a lot more people lose money in a bear market. A bull market is very easy to make money. A bear market looks more like the Qs right now. That's why I've done so well, is because this is bear market type behavior where we get a bunch of traps up and down. Usually they're just bigger. Usually it's like you get a bear market looks something like this. You get a drop down, you get a bounce, you get a dead cat bounce, you get a drop down, then you get a more sustained bounce for quite some time, then you get a bigger drop, and then you see maybe like a bull run, some kind of bear market rally or something like that, and you can get in on those. So that's where it's a little bit more complicated. But as you can see on the SPY here, hopefully that at least answered a little bit. You want to get really good at those indicators. Well, that's what the main goal of my course is to get you to fully understand the indicators. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to do my bear market strategy, right, that I give you at the end. But if you're able to understand the indicators, you can make money the entire way up in a bullish run. But if you go over to like Apple or something like that, pull up a 2-hour, and we go look at the last bullish run, well, let's see. All right, 2-hour, this is where we had that triple divergence on the daily. So this was an easy trade. Boom, we skyrocket up. All right, you skyrocket up. Let's say you missed that huge move. Where do I get into this play here? Well, let's see. We have this slight beatdown right here. This sideways price action looks like it could be some kind of flag, looks pretty good. And I'm still near positive territory. So if this curls up, hey, maybe I take a bite right here. Hey, this one didn't work out. That's okay. Maybe this one here will, and I can go a little bit higher. Now what I would want to do in the shorter time frames to actually get a position is I look for when this 2-hour looks like it's down towards that middle area, that center line. I look for a 30-minute or a 15-minute divergence right here. I enter a position right around here. Guess what? You could have been in this move right here just from crossing of this MACD and maybe you get out early, 3.27% in 4 days. That is plenty of time to make money on an option. So it's way simpler in a bullish market. Way, way, way simpler. That's why the course is teaching you about a bear market, because a bear market strategy, because that's where the real danger is, in my opinion. It's a lot harder to trade that. All right, already heading towards the bottom of that daily expected move. Let's see. Meta, I could have made more money. AMD, I could have made more money. Let me turn on my headphones real quick. And Nima, thank you so much for subscribing. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure to smash that like button. I know we disconnected once, but the connection's better, and not everyone knows that. So like the stream, get this to go to get those people back in here, so we can teach them a little bit about this stuff. Hopefully Robert's able to come by today, because this is all he's asking pretty much, is for, in a bull market, what can he do? And I'm like, you literally just learn the indicators, cross on the 2 hour, you buy a call. Like, it's literally that simple. And then you just want to go into a shorter time frame and maybe find a divergence or something like that. But you can miss a lot of trades looking for divergences to the downside. In, like, if you have a divergence this way and you're expecting a bounce, you can miss a lot of positive moves. So if there's no divergence, you literally just look at the 2 hour, make sure the beatdown was pretty good, and then you see this reaction up, boom, you know positivity is coming. Daily expected, no, you're fine. Daily expected moves for the Qs, 443.58 to the upside and 435.90 to the downside. So we're already approaching that area right now. Just so everyone's aware, this is the area we're paying attention to as of right now. Now, you could get some kind of big reaction here. You could, because we talked about how this would break down. Well, we need to get all the way down to here for that big breakdown. So what you might end up doing is getting some kind of left. This is actually a little higher. Maybe we get a right, and this forms some kind of head and shoulders at this point. So we could get a move higher, see if that's going to be a lower high. All we have to do, pay attention to this MACD. If it just rolls over into negative territory, hey, there's your lower high. If it goes up a little higher, it can test this high. It can go make a new one, but the fact that we broke through this is really convincing that we're probably not going to make a new high in the SPY. I'm just letting you know that right now. The probabilities are not pointing towards that unless the data really pushes us higher. That would be the thing. But as this 30-minute keeps trickling down into negative territory, it gets less and less likely for this to get all the way back up here. It still can happen. Don't think it can't happen. But as you are dipping lower and lower, you notice there's a lot more time necessary in order to pull this back up. That's a vertical move, by the way. That would mean we fully recover all of this dip in a matter of a day and a half, 2 days. 3% in 2 days is a little bit but if CPI comes in good for the market, it could be very, very bad. If you're looking for the crash, I mean, this is the type of stuff that you really want to see. Now we want to pay attention to the whole day, pay attention to the data tomorrow, because right now you're closing above here. I just want you to be very aware of this triple divergence on the 5-minute for the VIX getting pretty tight. We can see an explosive move. And for the probabilities for today, be very specific about this. The probabilities for today, the VIX is showing you a 5-minute triple divergence, actually a quadruple divergence across the board. You can see that right up in here, this divergence a little bit flat, a little bit down. But as we go here, we get that steeper divergence very close to negative territory. Good chance this actually drops out of this right now. So you have to say, okay, let me think about that. Is there a good chance for a bounce here? Well, we're towards the bottom side of that daily expected move. We're towards the bottom side of the daily expected move, which tells me, okay, this thing can start to bounce from here. Looking at things such as like Nvidia, we can see 5-minute divergence down here. So that's something to pay attention to. We're going to watch this on the 5-minute just for a brief moment. Yeah, that was a very, very good question from Robert. So I do hope he joins us today. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Let's do it. All right, so see, even me right now, I'm talking about all the bearish things that are happening, but I see 5-minute divergence, right? I see 5-minute divergence on Nvidia, and I see 5-minute divergence on the VIX at the same time. So that just tells me, hey, the SPY has a good chance to pop. The Qs probably have a good chance to pop, even though that's the volatility of the SPY. So we could see some kind of reaction here. And that's really what I want to pay attention to. If I wanted to look at shorter time frames, I could go with like futures or something like that at this point, see if there's divergences. Well, look, we do have a 15. If we have a 30-minute, we have a 30-minute forming, very flat down here, so not the best for the RSI, but we can get some kind of bounce from this area. So you see how I really bounce around and I make sure that there are multiple things. We talk about this in the course. You need multiples amounts of things in order to take a trade. And throughout the course, we do show you guys exactly what I look for to take a trade, how you can create those things in order to not convince yourself. You don't want to have to convince yourself. You just want to look at stuff and go, that looks like it can reverse. This is about to cross over. We are at support. We've been beat down for a long time. We're going into a moving average. All these things together give me a good feeling about moving forward with the trade. And just like that, AMD is starting to buy back up here. It broke through this level for a brief moment. Really thought that would get us down towards this this level here. Oh man, I've lost $12. So yeah, those are the types of things you can look for. You can see there's flatness of the RSI, flatness of the MACD right now. As far as the shorter time frames, you're coming into the 200 on the 15 minutes. So this is somewhere where you want to hold up. Can we see a reaction here? Yes, we definitely can. And I think this is where it would be fun to pull up the, what's it called? The Max Pain. Max Pain has been helping us out a lot with Nvidia. Let's take a brief look at that real quick. And 1,000 has a ton of calls. So your call wall is 1,000 this week. So you have 900. That's obviously always important. It's been important for like 2 weeks now. And we've really been able to utilize that 900 price point. But if you're part of the Patreon, you know where that, if you're part of the Patreon, you know where that upside range is. So if the, if Nvidia wants to make a very strong move this week, you know exactly where to start to take profit off the table. That's what you get on Patreon. But you'll notice here, boom, we have $1,000 calls here. We have a lot of puts as well. I mean, there's more, it's less big walls of puts, just a lot of puts across the bottom here. But you'll notice your walls here are going to be 900 and 1,000, and then 850 is going to be your main put wall. Well, where did Nvidia go to? Well, it went just below 850, wasn't able to break below it. Now we're closing back above it. So you do have the opportunity to squeeze out some puts. I guarantee you 850 is where a ton of people are piling on puts right now, and this could cause a squeeze to happen. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but as we see the put call ratio skyrocketing, I can say, okay, if anyone is trying to catch a big short in this market, they're probably going to short Nvidia, and they're probably going to say, hey, this thing's going, you know, even if they say, hey, this thing's going to 600 this week, that can get squeezed out very quickly. Even in a couple of days, if this just wants to pop and drop, that makes sense. Maybe we get some kind of divergence up here. But that's really how you have to pay attention to this market. It is still bullish in the overall grand scheme of things. It is still bullish, all right? We don't want to mistake that. This is still a very bullish move. Sure, we're seeing some dramatic sell-offs, and that's a good sign moving forward, but we can go look at the VIX on the 5-minute and see if this wants to break down. So I have calls right now. I actually took calls. And if this starts to not go into negative territory, I will get out of those calls. And then I will look for another trade later. I don't mind taking a little bit of a loss. I've made good amount of money today, so I am solid. I shorted AMD and I shorted Meta, so you can imagine how my day is looking right now. I'm out of those trades, by the way. 5-minute divergence on RSI, not on the MACD. And I don't even know if this, actually, there really isn't divergence on the RSI. Now you do have this divergence down here on the Qs. You see that flatness of the RSI, but not on the MACD. So any kind of pop we could get here could just be some kind of right shoulder. That's overall how I see things. I overall just say, hey, if I don't have both at the same time, I have to be willing to say this has the probability of popping and then being ripped away. So really want to pay attention to that, maybe going into tomorrow. But everyone is banking on CPI being bad news. A lot of puts out there for CPI. So is that actually going to be the catalyst? Very well could be. It'd be a lot. Let's see what it's supposed to come in at. Previous was 0.4. Consensus is supposed to be 0.3 and 0.3. Core inflation year over year is supposed to come in at 3, or it came in at 3.9 last time. It's supposed to come in at 3.7 to 3.8. So if we just come in at 3.7, people will most likely see that as good news. We'll see that pop up a little bit here. Amazon breaking down. So this is where I like to pull up my ranges. I like to just look through every stock, look where they're at. Okay, I look at Apple. I can look at my ranges and say, is Apple approaching the upside of that range? It's still got some room left. Amazon, is Amazon approaching the bottom side of that range? The answer is it's getting pretty close to the bottom side. Tesla, is that hitting the upward side? No, Tesla has a good move left in it. This is maybe completing that big cup over here. You're able to get into positive territory on the 15-minute. I'm actually going to pull up a 30 while we look at the rest of these. Look at that 30-minute divergence playing out. So if you want to see this 30-minute divergence play out higher, now you would just go over, look, is the 2-hour crossing? Yes, I can have a little bit more confidence as long as this bar holds. I can have a little bit more confidence in this move, even though it's a very scary looking move right now. I won't be trading anywhere near Tesla though. Nvidia, look at that. We're seeing that pop. What did we tell you? We're seeing that pop. Guess what? We're probably seeing the VIX start. It's going to start to drop off most likely. The probabilities are there. That's all I would say. AMD, seeing that buy back up just a little bit. This still could fade back down, right? We're not near the weekly expected move for, let's see if we're near it for Nvidia. Nvidia, we're not near that as well. Thank you so much for subscribing. Chuck DeCarlo, thank you so much. Thoughts on Google? We can pop over there. Let me just get through Meta. Meta, last one, just breaking down pretty significantly. We've been giving you guys some pretty good information about Meta. We've been giving you the monthly expected moves and stuff like that. So I'll just tell you guys right now, this is the weekly expected move. I just marked that for myself off this morning just because I was like, hey, it comes into a very, very good point of liquidity right in here. So it is, Meta right now is outside of its weekly expected move for the entire week in the first hour of trading. So that's what you need to pay attention to. It's like if things are getting outside of their moves to the downside, that might be people getting too bearish too soon. So you just want to be careful for any kind of bounce that can come from that. Meta drop isn't surprising though. Okay, so we were actually mentioning this live and I showed you guys, I was like, this is a trade. I was like, the weekly expected move is here. This is a trade right here. And this is where I bought in. Boom, it starts to fall. Well, actually, I told you I bought in twice. So I believe I bought in somewhere like over here. And then I bought in again right here. Boom, it goes down. I make 100% on my option. Yeah, I'm out. I made my money. Google. Something to the upside on Google that we need to know. Pavan, thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, it can happen really fast, especially when volatility is higher, it'll go a lot better. Now, one thing I would say about Google here, you're getting a slight 15-minute divergence. It's not a bad place to get it, though. This is great to get that cup. Now you have the handle. Maybe it wants to consolidate a little more before it actually heads higher. Now you are coming up into a point you have to pay attention to. Okay, this point right here is where we've seen a lot of resistance start to step in, right? We have 1 point here, 1 point here. We weren't able to get to it here. This is a very bearish sign. If you're not able to get to the trend, that you're going to see a further dip. Boom, you get that further ABC pattern to the downside. Now we're bouncing up. Well, guess what? We're right towards positive territory. So if we break through here, we can see that strength. Yeah, if we break through here, we can see that strength come in. Don't pay attention. 140.97 is literally just a resistance line at this point. But this is where I'm expecting some a little bit wonkier price action. See if this wants to base out. We talked about how it would head higher. Left head. Here's your base. Maybe this is the right shoulder going to form soon, and then we can see that start to head up. Worth buying Meta? There's no structure on Meta to tell me that it has to bounce, just so you guys know. That's why I didn't trade Meta to the upside anymore. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're getting some subscribers in here today. That is awesome. Love having you guys here. Keep chatting in there for me, but appreciate you guys coming. Litha? It sounds like Lisa with a lisp. Letha. But thank you for joining, Letha, or Litha, whatever your name is. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but thank you so much for joining. Moving forward, we just want to pay attention to SPY, Qs, everything like that. We might even go down into a 15-minute, just look at SPY and Qs, see if we see some kind of reaction. Nvidia's one here that we're just stating. Yeah, you have some divergence down here. You don't necessarily have, it's flat, so you could see some kind of bounce and see that ripped away. But that 5-minute divergence right now is starting to help. I actually haven't looked at ASML. I can write that in my notes and check it, and then you can come back tomorrow and I'll take a look at it. QQQ coming down right away. Like, this is what you need to know. This area here, what do we say? This liquidity was going to become important. It became important once, and now it's becoming important again. If you're able to create a lower high or higher low here, sure, you can get that reaction. We just have to be careful any kind of reactions by end of day today, just because we do have CPI tomorrow. So if I do get a good reaction out of Nvidia over the next few minutes, because this is what I was overall telling you guys, if I get a good reaction here on Nvidia, I most likely will be taking profit very, very early. You called it with the weekly range. Yep. Meta. That's the play I took. That's the play. AMD. Nvidia was my fun play last week. That didn't work out. I did a day trade on Nvidia, and I broke even. So I can't complain. I broke even. But Meta and AMD were my plays. I'm already out. It did last year. Do you think 1,000 is going to happen? When is the GTC conference? What day exactly? Yeah, and this is what I want to pay attention to. You're saying that it's starting to approach 16. That's a good sign. It's a good sign, but still you have the potential for this divergence to roll around on the 5-minute here. So that's something. 18th of March. It really, from a technical side, I would say it really depends on, do you know what the reaction was last time, first of all? And then second of all, what does CPI and PPI do to us this week? That's what I'd really pay attention to. If CPI and PPI don't do much to us this week, we could see higher prices maybe if that conference was good news for Nvidia last time. Is Tesla a false breakout? We overall were stating how people could rotate back into Tesla from Nvidia. They could rotate back into Apple from Nvidia. So you really want to see if this starts to fade as people go back into Nvidia. And you see that strong move. So we literally showed you guys this live 5-minute divergence, 5-minute divergence, flatness of the RSI. That's why we have to treat it as maybe just some kind of bounce at this point. But we can see a strong bounce. Maybe we come up to 900. 900 would make sense. But maybe we come all the way up to 1,000 because 1,000's our big call wall. What I'm overall stating down here is we have divergence, we have Meta coming out of its weekly range, we have the VIX showing us triple divergence on a 5-minute. We just have a lot of things here that are telling us, hey, this could see some kind of bounce. So now that this 5-minute has crossed over, I start to slowly look. 15, is that crossing over? Yes. Okay, I want to look for the one that hasn't crossed over yet. 30-minute, where is it? It's very close to positive territory. This could be another positive move. This could be another positive move. Good morning, Junior. Aw. Aw. No, Family Adventures. Family Adventures, thank you so much for the $20. I want it to pop up on the screen and bounce so we can be happy about it. Wants to bounce. But thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really, really do appreciate it. You guys know I appreciate it every time you guys super chat, even if it's just to buy myself a cup of coffee or something like that. You know, when I stream, I make my own coffee, but we do every Sunday. Every Sunday, we go out and we get a very nice coffee. It's one of our hobbies here at the house. If you want to learn more about trading, I would highly encourage, weirdly enough, watching YouTube videos is great. Oh, there it is. Oh, Family Adventures, thank you for donating $20 through the super chat. Can we get some hell yeahs for Family Adventures out there? Pedro, if you really want to learn more about these indicators and things like that, you can take my course. It's one of the, I made it cheap because I really want people to know that trading can be very, very efficient. Trading can be easier as long as you're willing to put in the work and learn. If you're not able to take that course though, even before you take the course, don't even take it yet. I would highly suggest pulling out a notepad and watching these videos, watching other YouTubers that you connect with, because I know other people trade differently, and seeing what things you can get from them. Okay, so I like to say a lot of the time, something that people could know a lot of the time. I like to talk about how important this center line is, right? So even though, say, what is it? Meta. Let's look at Meta. So Meta up here, you have all these divergences, right? You see all these divergences. This is something you can learn in the course is about divergences, but I talk about how important this center line is. If this divergence just fizzles out, comes down like this, we even sell off to here, and then we start to turn back around, well, you're still turning up in positive territory. If you start to come above this point, you can head higher in the overall stock price, and then you want to look out for where you need to kind of take profit there. So really this center line is very important because this is positive territory and this down here is negative territory. So that means that we can go into a negative trend if we're down in negative territory, positive trend if we're in positive. Where are we right now? We are in positive territory. So every single time this curls up, it has a chance to test this high, go make a new one. That's what you have to pay attention to. We did this with Nvidia as well. No real divergence here, but you'll notice this pullback here, that's all it is at this point. Some selling coming in on a Friday with expiration. We could see this pull down, see if that wants to curl back up. Even with this one, I'd probably go into an hourly. Look how that's in positive territory. Boom, this curls back up. We can see it test this high. We can go make a new one, and we know there's a ton of calls at 1,000. We know that this price action probably caused a bunch of people to buy puts on Nvidia today, which means we can squeeze those out. Okay, so once you hear that, you should take note of it. You really literally should write it down with your hand. You will remember it better if you write it down. And then the next time I talk about it again, write it down again. That way you know it, and then you kind of sit and you look at charts. That's what I did. I would really research, really learn about these indicators, and then I would go back through charts and be like, how well does this work out? Where would I get in? Where would I get out? This is where I would get in. This is where I would get out. Okay. So then I say, was this curling up a positive move? Well, we could just say this. This is a beatdown. Even though you have sideways price action, this is beating down on the hourly. If I just took a play here and bought calls till the end of the week, did I make money? Well, let's see. This went up by, here's your buy point. This went all the way up to here. It went up 20%. Do you see how bullish way? It's very, very simple. And then that's what the course does. It teaches you the indicators so that in the bullish times, it's very simple. Crosses over, got a little bit of a beat down or a sideways price action and then crossed up. Okay, there is high probability for positivity coming because we are in positive territory. This is a very bullish move. It's a bullish trend overall. So I know, hey, I can be pretty confident taking this. The probabilities are really high. Now, when that crosses down, a lot of people go, oh, I need to short this. Well, what's telling you to short this at this point? This could be another move like this, right? We're nowhere lower in this MACD than right here. I want this to do this. Dramatically sell off, get into negative territory, and then curl back up and curl back down. If that curls back down, I have the same trade in the other direction right here, and I'll be below the 200 at that point on the hourly, so I can feel more confident about that trade. So if you really want to learn, my suggestion is do as much work for free as you can. That's what I did. I literally watched YouTube videos for hours and hours and hours a day. I took the pieces that worked for me and I wrote them down. I literally wrote down what things I was going to pay attention to, and then I put them all together and I started trading and things went really, really well. That's how I would put it. And then the bear market came and I had some more learning to do. I got an even deeper grasp of the risk ranges and things like that. That's what really helped me there with the bear market. And so that's what made me the most money. Bear market, you can make a ton of money. You really can, because there's bigger fluctuation in price. But the bull market is a lot easier to make money, right? Like if I would have told you guys last week, okay, if you just buy right here at 810, you can sell it at $1,000 or at $900, because we know that that 900 call wall is right here. So maybe this is where you sell out. All right, cool. That's it. There's your bull market. Bear market, a lot more complicated. You have to have multiple reasons to take a trade, to figure out like, hey, and not just convince yourself. Add weekly price targets on TV and buy and sell indicators. Yeah, so I actually pull up the indicators, and I'm not shy about my indicators. I'm not trying to hide them from you guys. I'm not cropping them out. I literally only use this one right here, SMA 950, 180, EMA 20. I changed the 180 to a 200. I changed the 9 back and forth between a 5 and a 9. Okay, so that's overall what I do. I trade it back. I treat it kind of as back and forth. So if I'm looking at a daily chart, I really like a 5-day moving average. So right now I have 5-day moving averages up as we're testing the 5-day on Nvidia. We're literally testing it. This is 5-day right here. And then I use Bollinger Bands for my daily charts. I don't use them for hourlies. This is literally the only 3 things you need to be a good trader right here. You need moving averages, MACD, RSI. That's it. And then I also in the course teach you about some patterns, how you can find stuff, and overall, you know, since you guys are live, I want to give benefits to you guys showing up live and things like that. So people are like, how do people draw triangles and things like that? They just do. There's no secret to how people draw this stuff. Like it's just kind of like I'm going to draw it out as an idea. And then if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But here's my idea here. Well, I have 3 points. Usually you want to find 3 points to the downside. You'd like to find 3 points on the downside of the triangle as well. Okay, so if I exclude shadow here, boom, we're connected. If I include both, or if I exclude both wicks in here, this is looking like a pretty good base. There's my triangle. This is just me drawing as an idea. Yeah, this like what people do to draw stuff out is not some crazy thing that people learn. It's literally just trying things. It's drawing things, drawing ideas to create that. Okay, so now we know this. What does this really tell us? Well, the probability of this breaking to the upside is higher because it's slanted down. You can do all this research on YouTube for free. You can look up descending triangles, I believe. Ascending triangle would be the other way, so something like this. But we'll notice that the probability of upside is higher with a descending triangle. Okay, so that tells us one thing. This is a wedge, and we're starting to get price tighter. So when price gets tighter, what happens? Well, these Bollinger Bands usually get pretty close together. They don't look like this. So then we can expect a big move. The probabilities to the upside, we have triple divergence. Boom, multiple reasons to take a trade. Versus the actual news, it depends on the environment. Okay, so let's just go to the SPY. Okay, so when you want to pay attention to news, you want to pay attention to news all the time, because we've gotten a lot of actually bad news throughout this run. We've gotten a decent amount of bad news throughout this entire run. Think about it. We got CPI like way over here, and we're up here now. That's kind of crazy. That's bad news. But you have to think about the environment. If everyone else is bullish, the price action will continue to be bullish, if that makes sense. And now you want to wait for something crazy to happen. Well, this is actually pretty crazy, guys. This actually is. The fact that we're this tight, we just broke it. That is something very different than all of this that's happened. Now we do have the opportunity for this to break down, break back up. We do have that opportunity. But as of right now, you see all the divergence up here. You could convince yourself to short here. You could have convinced yourself to short here, short here, short here. And it very well might be a good practice to hedge in these areas. But all you have to do is look at a 1 hour, a 2 hour, and say every time this curls up near the center line, what did we do? We skyrocketed up. So the overall reason this can keep going higher is because this news that we've gotten, even way back, I don't remember exactly where. I think CPI was right here. Even right here with CPI, we saw that break down. It wasn't bad enough news to get people bearish, right? We saw some people coming out from the Fed saying CPI ticking up is a good thing and things like that. So don't trick yourself out. Really, you just want to trade like water and be moving back and forth. I can tell you that whenever this comes down to this area and curls back up, I take calls. I take calls. Right here, I take calls. Right here, I take... Actually, wait, it was... Actually, I missed out because of this gap, so I didn't take calls there. And I haven't taken calls up in this area. I did on individual stocks, but not on the SPY. Family Adventures. I love that it just says goal. Good morning, Mr. Rosales. How you doing? I feel like the SPY is about to turn up. MACD is slowly creeping up. Okay, so this is what we can pay attention to for the SPY. 5-minute divergence here on the VIX. We have to see if this plays out first. So you really want to see if this VIX is able to get into negative territory. That's what I would really pay attention to. Good shot that we're going to come down into this base at some point. So that's something we can pay attention to moving forward. But as of right now, you denied the crossing. Glad to be here. Well, you missed out. Our stream crashed. This, I don't know why I sounded from Wisconsin or Canada or something. I was like, hey guys. Oh, good. Well, now I'm sounding Scottish or something. Good morning to ya. Or is that Irish? So we'd have to say if the MACD is going to cross over up here. We just want to see if it goes down into negative territory. Is that pretty good? Is that pretty good? If this goes down into negative territory, we can go look at the SPY. See if the SPY is able to curl up a little bit here. I am Irish, so I think that has nothing to do with it, but thank you, Scott. When Scott tells me it's good, Sahand, when you tell me that's pretty good, I don't really take it. But Scott, when you tell me it's good, then I know it's good. But yeah, the overall takeaway, I mean, I wish Robert was here, because emailing about this stuff, it's a lot harder to talk about, but showing you guys it, did you not see how every single time the 2 hour was like a little bit below or near the center line and curled up, if you just bought calls, you made money this whole time? Isn't that crazy to think about? Top of the morning to ya. Okay, I put too much into the te ya. What other accents can we do? I love the in Soviet Russia, cars drive you. Okay, so you can see we're just drawing stuff out. We're just drawing stuff out. Okay, so this tells us this could be in some kind of channel, right? So we could be in some kind of channel at this point, heading downward. Is that necessarily the most dramatic thing? If it continues, yeah, we could see another reaction down, actually. This would make a lot of sense, actually, if we flag up, come down into the daily expected move outside of it, and then we see that little divergence down here on the SPY. I like the divergence to be at the same time as the VIX, so the fact that there's no divergence here, little. Now do a Chinese one? Yo, I don't give a shit. I'll do a Chinese one. Except, I mean, I know a little bit of Japanese. I love If I do a Chinese accent, I am complimenting Chinese culture because I love their food. And also, okay, I hate communism personally. But, oh, hajimemashite. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then you're not yoroshiku onegai shimasu. You may have mentioned it, but what moving averages do you use? I switch between a 5 and a 9. And then I use a 20 and a 50 and a 200. So most of the time I'm doing, actually most of the time these days I'm doing a 5, 20, 50, 200. I don't know what Yamate means, but. Oh, you're saying itadakimasu. Isn't that like thank you for the food? Isn't itadakimasu thank you for the food or something like that? Watch anime growing up? I never watched anime. The only animes I really watch, I'll flip over to the queue so we can get a little difference here because this one actually has divergence, so I want to pay attention to it. I didn't watch anime much growing up, but I actually pretty much my friend who I've had on TikTok, we met on TikTok and she started to get me into anime, and then we ended up hanging out a lot, becoming best friends, and then we ended up we have a child now. I don't know if you guys noticed. I have a child now. It's kind of weird to say, but yeah. So she actually is responsible for getting me into anime, and me and Ari like to watch Naruto at night. Yeah, she was a real nerd into it, so I watched like Demon Slayer. I think the only thing anime wise that I watched growing up was like Dragon Ball Z, I guess Pokemon, Digimon, anything like that. And then now, obviously, when you're older, we start to get into the. Actually, I want to look at Nvidia. Is Nvidia seeing a? Okay, this is actually cool too. Nvidia, this basing out here, we could see some kind of left shoulder if we're able to get up a little bit higher. I'd like it to get up a little bit higher. So we still do have the potential for a rollover. Same type of thing we're paying attention to. We'll get back into anime in a sec. If this rolls over in negative territory, that trend can continue. So be a little careful here. I'm going to be careful with my trade moving forward, but this is a good sign. No, it's a good sign that it's starting to base out. So what you wouldn't want is this to continue. You don't want this to continue, go sideways, continue again. That would be not good. So the fact that it's tapering off is a good thing. He died last week? That's screwed up. I switch between just trading individual stocks like without options, but right now I'm using options for the most part. And I'm someone actually in my chat, I was like, here's what I do. I don't know exactly what it's called, but this is what really works for me. I just solved it on my own. I was like, man, my trades go better when I trade this way. Apparently I'm a position trader, so I like to take a position a month out and then either buy or sell even the next day if I see the move happen, but that's overall how I see it. Oh god, Nvidia just had a price increase. What was it? Pitching Academy. So what? Now I watch like Demon Slayer. I just am about to finish Naruto for the first time, so that's interesting. And me and my daughter, whenever I'm taking care of her at night, because I have the night shift, that's why I'm usually late. To 1,200. Yeah, this thing's probably getting to 1,000 this week then. And I mean CPI, this could be bait. This could be bait. Okay, so we're gonna look at this pretty good. All right, so what we pay attention to, Nvidia just got really good news. Well, guess what hinted us to that good news? We had divergence, and we had divergence on the VIX at the same time. So I'm guessing the VIX might start dropping off. We're seeing some good moves here. Get bullishness. This is about to cross in positive territory. Now, one thing we have to be careful of is a trap here. If someone just comes out and says, hey, it's supposed to be worth 1,200, usually it doesn't get all the way to 1,200. Okay, so look for if this crosses up, wants to fail. So we have to see if this wants to curl over early. If it curls over early, that's not good. That could be some kind of pop and drop ABC pattern. But if this is able to stay and get a strong move into positive territory, test this high, make a new one. Exactly. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. If we come up like this and then CPI is bad, this is going to go down. But everyone is kind of saying the CPI could be bad. It's making me feel kind of contrarian. Exactly. Happy Friday. We know it's manipulated. That's why we have to trade like water, right? That's what we keep saying. Trade like water. So if the CPI is good news for the market, a lot of people saying it's going to be bad like last time. What if it's not? Well, this could get up to 1,000, and then these people take profit. We get another wick. Maybe we get another divergence up here. Don't be a contrarian on CPI. It's going to be hot. Well, maybe this is that trap. That's what I'm saying. Is Nvidia a good buy for the long run at this price? We'll do this. We'll go weekly. Let's see. Let's really see. Nvidia is up 2,648% in the last 6 years. Now let's see the recent price action. I'd say, I don't know if I'd invest in something that's up 2,000%, but hey, that's 6 years. Maybe it's based out. Maybe it's going to go to, 50,000. All right, let's see what it's done, since this bottom down here, October 2022. That's not even 2 years. Well, it wicked out up 862%. I'm going to say I would not invest in this right now. Me personally, I would not. I would trade it. I am trading it, but this has the potential to pull back here. So, okay, here's what I'll tell you. Kunik. Okay, so when it's up here, this is when you're going to feel like it's going to the moon, but it's most likely going to go, it's going to start to keep wicking out because people are going to keep taking profit up here. Not saying it can't blow off more, it definitely can, but I would feel more confident as an investor if we say saw a bunch of weeks of pain and then came into this area around like 456 and saw that curl up. What would that do for me? Boom, this curls down on the MACD, curls back up in positive territory. There is your investment for like 6 months probably. How do you feel about coin being DCA into June, puts and looking to get into leaps as well? Well, with coin, you really just want to follow Bitcoin. If you're looking for any price action, you want to see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs as of today. That's something to pay attention to because a lot of the time coin just goes up with it. Now, coin hasn't recovered very much, right? Coin hasn't recovered in a while here, so you have to pay attention to it. Look on the daily scale. You're most likely going to see, okay, we have a divergence on the RSI, but not on the MACD at the same time. Now, this could just be a parabolic move, which could be ripped away at any time, but you'd really want to pay attention to see if this wants to go a little bit higher, because if this just starts to curl over or go sideways for a few days and curls back up, we can see that goes sideways, meet up with this 20 and start to go a little bit higher. You have divergence on the RSI, but not the MACD at the same time. So you could see some kind of pullback. You just want to see if that curls back up. But yeah, you could see a pull. These are areas where the questions about puts, the questions about pullbacks, this is where those questions should come about. So I'm glad people are asking that. Q's bounced right off of the 20. Nvidia up now 1.3%. I gotta look at my option now. I might already be out of my option. We can hold a little longer. This 30 minutes about to curl up. Let's have some fun today. Shoot, man. If I see a solid bounce in some stocks, sure, I might hedge some downside, might hedge some downside. But this is about to curl up in positive territory, man. This is about to curl up in positive territory. The last time we curled up in positive territory on the 30-minute was right here. That had a move of 12%. And if you want to say the last time from the center line that we crossed, well, the next time we're there is right now. But the highs from there were 24% in 8 days. That's kind of wild. The fact that you can make 28% in that amount of time is psycho. Especially if you have an option play with that. Holy crap. Ooh, can I do a poll? Do a poll. No! Oh, there's Nvidia. Look at that. $1,000 call. Dang it, I was trying to take a poll or something. I gotta figure that out. I'm gonna figure out how to take polls because I feel like it'd be fun to see you guys vote on stuff. Is Nvidia gonna hit 1,000 this week? Here, let's do that first. No poll, so you can't just click the vote. You have to type yes or no. Will Nvidia hit 1,000 by Friday? Ooh, yeah. We'll just leave it at that for now. Yes or no? Will Nvidia hit 1,000 by Friday? Palo Alto, we're starting to see that come in. Meta, seeing that buy back up. Look at this. Look at this. Outside of the weekly range, boom, we see that spike up. No, yes, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have like 9 no's, 3 yeses? 10 no's. 10 no's, 4 yeses. So, who out there has Nvidia puts as of today? VIX starting to drop off here. 30 minutes going to cross most likely in the next few minutes here. Look at this 15. You got divergence on the RSI. We showed you guys the 5-minute divergence. You also have that divergence on the 15-minute here. You have a triple divergence on the 15-minute. This really likes to turn around the 30-minute, but I can tell you a triple divergence on the 15-minute likes to turn around the hourly. So this hourly can start to suffer here. Hourly MACD can turn around. Now, this is something to notice going into CPI. Oh, that's all right, Sahand. There's always ways to make money with options, even with low amount of money. Even with low amount. We'll have to get into that sometime. But I remember when I was starting off with options, I did a TLT play, and I only had, I think, $100 to put into it. So I bought a call that was like psycho out of the money. And the next day, it like the TLT popped by like, I think it was like 4%. Something happened. It popped by like 4%. I don't know if there's a data drop. This is when I was not the best years ago, but I times 10'd my money in like, so I made $1,000 pretty much in like a day. And I was like, oh, cool. That is not encouraged. That was when stupid Luke was going. Luke now is a lot more technical, a lot more following of trends. But one thing I wanted to mention on the VIX here. So the thing about this, we could see this drop off now if those 15-minute divergences get into negative territory. Yes. If the 5-minute divergence, 15-minute divergence gets into negative territory, yes. The thing we want to watch for now, is this able to go negative on the hourly? If this is able to go negative on the hourly, we can see more of that positive. We can see more negativity come in. I'm sorry. We could see that broken. We could see maybe like a little head and shoulders up in here. But if this wants to curl down just slightly, maybe come fill this gap, hold up a little higher and turn back around, we could get another pump of volatility. No, I don't use options spreads. I am a very simple trader. Meta, 15-minute divergence. Last week, we mentioned this one to you guys. We gave you the weekly ranges, so you should have seen it every single video. Weekly range was like, I think like right here or just above it. Actually, I think it broke through it last week. Yeah, I believe it broke through it last week. 15-minute divergence outside of the risk range with that there, and in a point where I'm very comfortable holding shorts for a month because I'm a position guy. I'm not going to take this trade and be like, oh, I expect it's going to crash tomorrow, because it takes time. But when you do get lucky and it doesn't take time, I already made my money. I'm out of the play. I'm outside of the weekly for this week. This is the downside to the weekly right here. I'm outside of that. I take profit. I actually take profit before then. I took profit right here at these lows just in case there was some kind of significant bounce. So that's how I do things. And then the next time I'm looking for another play, and I'm still positioning a month out so it doesn't hurt me too much if it goes the wrong way. I can scale into a position for a little bit. Also, if I make my money fat, I'm just out and I look for my next trade. You guys already know my next trade. It's Nvidia. There's not a ton. You guys, I'm not risking my whole portfolio on an Nvidia play. I just want to be very aware of that. I'm taking Nvidia for a slight call because I know that people probably stack the puts on with this kind of move, but all I saw was tapering. All I saw was wait, that's a 15. Actually, there's 15-minute flatness on the MACD. 5-minute divergence. So I'm not saying this can't curl back down, get a double bottom. That would make a lot of sense. Maybe I scale into the position there, and this is where I take my next position on this next cross, like this. So if I really was scared of this crashing down or something, if this curls over into negative territory, boom, it crosses like this, I can just get out of that position, break even. It's not like the scariest thing. I'm just going to flip back and forth. I'm going to trade like water, and then really try to have the right position before a big move every single time. I don't mind losing 1, 2, 3% on these little plays on the way down. I'd rather just be like, okay, if I get out here, does this curl back up? Okay, cool. I'll get in again here. Boom, it goes up a little bit. I take profit. I'm not trying to take this, have it cross, say this is going to 1,000. Sure, that'd be awesome. But if it goes to 1,000, that'd be cool. But at the same time, if I make, 50 or 100% on this move, why am I gambling if this is going to go higher? I already made that amount of money. It's kind of like, would you rather have $1,000 right now or a 40% chance of $3,000 in 4 days? That's kind of how I think about it. I really would rather have the $1,000 now because it's 100%. 100% I am getting that $1,000. $3,000, I have a 60% chance not to get it. Now, I'm not saying those are the probabilities here. The probabilities of this testing this high are actually pretty good. And if you're part of the Patreon, you know why. Look at those risk ranges. So I'm up 30% on my Nvidia call. Damn, I took that way out of the money. It was more out of the money than I normally do. Trying to see if I see any trade setups, really. If we find those trade setups, remember that we do put that video out on Patreon as well. Apple, ooh, that's a little sketch. This MACD behavior I don't necessarily like when this happens, but you'll notice it can lead to some reversals, right? You see it like over here, it's kind of similar. You can see those reversals, but once you get up towards a zone that's kind of selly, you can see that kind of ripped away over time. So I don't like this MACD behavior. Even with this divergence here, it's like that's a fine trade. I would be a little bit sketched out. So this here, most likely if I took anything down here, I'd be kind of out of that just in case, because if this just rolls over hard, you have a huge amount of space here to create another divergence, which means you have a huge amount of space here to come down in price. So I'm gonna be very careful with that. Tesla, still not bad. You just can't break cleanly through this 180.92. You really can't, but you're still basing out. I mean, this is still triple bottom like right now, so this could be your other handle, right? Handle, you got the cup, a deep handle, now you get a small handle, then you start to head up. There's bullish things to be found if we can break through some key levels on Tesla. Meta, I like the fact that it was able to buy back up. On the 15-minute, this thing hasn't curled yet. This is something I'll pay attention to. If this wants to pop and drop, I'll be paying attention to that. That most likely is telling me, hey, CPI is not going to be very good. But if everyone's bearish on CPI, I got to be open to some kind of squeeze if everyone's bearish. Darn it. I wish everyone was bullish. For Nvidia, since it's so expensive, I do 2 weeks. I don't do a month out on Nvidia because that shit, you do a month out on Nvidia, I'm pretty sure you have to spend like what, $20,000 or something, 40,000. I'm not risking that at this point. Actually, I'm gonna look at that for fun. Let's see how expensive it would be to buy an Nvidia call right now. A month out, like I normally would, a month out. See how expensive this is. Oh, it wouldn't be $20,000. It'd be like $6,000 to buy one contract at 880, and in a market like this, I ain't risking $6 grand on a possible up play here. I'm not doing it. $6,000. No gracias. I could, but no thank you. I'd rather do 2 weeks out. I mean, 2 weeks out, it's $5,000, but I took way out of the money just for funsies. I took the $9.95. Hey, I'm having fun. Who let me have fun? Happy Friday. Who did it? Anybody watch Cody Co? Come on. Yeah, I did. Because here's the thing. I'm making such good money on my actual plays that I'm being loose and spending, you know, for me, that's not a lot. So, yeah. I'm pretty much having fun with Nvidia. It's okay, so like you guys, I have ADHD. So if I sit and I just trade like to a T all day, my brain needs something that's like kind of a fun play. So you'll see, I'll talk about on the live video, we talked about it last week. I'll take like a fun play. Best trading weeks of my career so far. This is insane. Phantom, congratulations. Let's go. And I used to go through that. Yeah. So I take some fun plays every once in a while. I won't do it every week, but when Nvidia's this crazy, like, come on, it's fun. Solved it though. I take drugs. I used to take drugs in high school, but when I first started taking drugs, I only weighed 130 pounds. And I think, you know, my Adderall caused me to not eat, and I lost, I think I weighed 100 pounds at the end of the day. Or I was like 120 and I went down to 100 pounds. And that's when I just said, hey, I'm going to learn how to deal with this. That's very, very true. Happy Friday. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. A pullback has to happen at some point. People have to take, people do take profit at some point. You're not wrong. That's why I keep saying, don't follow what I'm doing with Nvidia. I'm literally having fun with it. And now it still makes enough sense to take it, but I would normally wait for this to cross right before I take any upside, make sure it gets into positive territory, but I'm just having some fun today. Who let me do it? Stop letting me have fun. Oh, you take Vivans? Phantom, I'm really proud of you. What was the stock, Phantom, that you, what was your best trade? You don't have to tell us numbers, anything like that. I just want to hear what stock you were trading. Which one gave you the best one? Armando, if you're still here, I just saw your Amazon one. I'm sorry about that. But Amazon, one thing that I do notice on Amazon, you have a 30-minute divergence here. So if this wants to turn up, Amazon actually could make a new high here. You do have a 30-minute divergence. So 30-minute divergence like to curl up the 2-hour. Guess where the 2-hour is? It's right near that positive territory. So if this wants to curl up, we can see another strong move out of Amazon. But I think this is very, a lot of these trades, like I'm taking one fun play on Nvidia for shits and gigs. I'll probably get out of it by the end of the day. But it's going to be very difficult to trade around the CPI, because CPI, this could have that divergence down here. And sure, CPI could come out good. Boom, we see that pop. We see this curl up in positive territory. All right, now let's say down. Now let's say downside. All right, well, if CPI is bad for the market, well, look how high up we are. We could see this come down to 159. Various industries, I think it's perfectly fine. If you are doing your due diligence and trading whatever, I can tell you that I mainly have focused on, you know, trading back and forth Mag 7. But I can tell you I've traded Dogecoin before for fun. I've made a bunch of money with Dogecoin. I've traded Bitcoin before for fun. I've traded little companies. I've done AMC for fun for a little bit. I do all kinds of things. Now, I really like to stick to what I know. That is some of the best advice that I've ever gotten in trading. I don't know how to say your name. I believe it's German or something. Koenigsstiger. Koenigsstiger. Something like that. Steiger? I don't know. Anyway, ADHD kicked in. So what I decided a couple years ago was I know a good amount about tech. I mean, I've been in technology. I've designed my own app. I've worked on worked with developers to develop my app back in the day when I owned my own business. I used to work at an Apple store. I do video editing. I used to run my own marketing for clients, so I know a lot of that technical stuff. So what I like to say is, someone told me a long time ago, I believe it was like Warren Buffett or something, said, try to deal with stocks that you know about. That way you know how to read their fundamental, like you know the fundamental news that's going to be good for them or bad. Like, that's why I stick with the stocks that I stick with at this point. So I don't know if that was the answer you're looking for, but a lot of people say it's good to be diverse. I am someone who slightly disagrees with that. I know about tech companies. I've researched tech companies, so why would I trade an oil company? You have plays for Qs or SPY in your Patreon for the CPI day. As of right now, there's not a lot of plays going on. So when you're going to see these plays on Patreon, they're going to be most likely very obvious plays. I want them to be very, very obvious. What I would just tell you right now with the SPY is you're coming down near the daily expected move. We can actually still go test that. You notice this red coming in with this slight retest. We can come test that before going higher. We come down to this base before heading higher. Right now, you just want to pay attention. Is this able to curl up? And maybe we struggle before CPI, and then CPI comes out as good, and that curls up. This is something you more want to pay attention to. The type of trades that I'm going to give you on Patreon are going to be very obvious, and you're going to see more of them when the actual bear market is here. If we are still in a bull market, like this is bullish right now, we are still in a very big bull run, then we can expect more positivity. So we're not going to get the trade setups that I normally would give you. I would just say this: if the SPY turns up on the 30-minute, that could be a good sign. You notice the Qs, if they turn up on a 30-minute, they can get into positive territory. You can see a bounce, but you want to make sure to pay attention to tomorrow's daily expected moves, because if we start getting way too excited out of that daily expected move and we came in, say, flat on the CPI, that could be a little bit worrisome. You could see that fade. So for tonight, we will most likely just be on YouTube. I'm not seeing too much. One trade play that I could put out onto Patreon would be like, hey, look at Meta from a risk to reward standpoint. That being said, there was nothing down here for me to really like put it in a video and say, hey, this has to reverse from here. A lot of the time, if we break through here and we use this as resistance, we can actually head lower. So I would be doing you a disservice by saying, hey, you should buy here, because there's nothing behind this right now that tells you that. A subscription live trading room? I've never thought about that. Why does it have to go higher? It doesn't have to. Nothing has to. Nvidia's starting to break back down. I'm starting to lose money over here. You guys don't hate on me. I'm starting to lose money over here on my Nvidia play. But all I need to do is pay attention to this 5-minute. Remember, this is all I want to pay attention to. Look at that. Boom. Look at that. We just drew it. Someone was asking, but with Chad, we're on Nvidia right now. This is what we were mentioning on Nvidia. So who was it? The plays for Qs or SPY in your pre. Amin, I will put those on there. Now, one thing that we were talking about this morning, Amin, was, hey, 5-minute divergence here down on Nvidia. A lot of people probably piling on puts because of this price action, but if this is able to hold up like that, guess what? We're going to curl up into positive territory, left, head, right shoulder. We might see a pretty decent size move here. All right, want to be aware of that. We could go up to 920 or 5 or something like that. Possibly, Muhammad. only trades? I'll take a look at it, Phantom. Interesting. But yeah, the reason we were saying this, well, we have this 5-minute divergence on Nvidia right now. Well, what else do we have? Well, we have the VIX 5-minute divergence across the board all the way up here. So this could say, hey, there could be another push higher on this 5-minute. Yep, we can see more selling come in. But if this goes negative, well, we can look for things starting to cross over. The 30-minute just crossed, right? Not the best sign for the VIX. A lot of the time, there's a 15-minute divergence up here as well, just so you're aware. There's 15-minute divergence up here on the VIX, and that likes to roll over the hourly a little bit. So good probability this hourly is going to roll over. Happy Friday. These eyes. I used to be cross-eyed, but now I'm not, so I can see inverse head and shoulders. I don't know. I was cross-eyed for like 10 years. What is the other option instead of an inverse? You mean like if there is a bearish take for Nvidia? Is that what you're talking? Oh my god, look at these crazy candles. Wick, 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 wick. Okay, so bearish scenario here, 30-minute, most likely would be that this rejects. I think if this rejects, you're probably heading lower, and most likely this was left head, right shoulder in the grand scheme of things. That'd be your bearish scenario. So really, I'm paying attention to this, pretty much pay attention to this wick. If we start to close below there, this is going to reject. We can see that selling pickup, and you want to look at the next point of liquidity. That'd be right in here. That'd be right in here, and if you're part of the Patreon, you can pay attention to the weekly expected moves. And I can just tell you guys right now, the weekly expected move for Nvidia, we're not close to there at this point. We are not close to there at this point. I mean, we're pretty much where we closed on Friday, right? We're directly in line with where we closed on Friday right now. So we're right in the middle. We are still right in the middle looking for some direction. God, you guys, I'm tempted. I am so tempted to hold this for CPI just to see, but this is the thing. Usually when I take a fun play, it has a little bit of luck in it. It's like, oh, if I get lucky, you know, one of those fun things. I don't trade big amounts with that mentality, just so you ever. What time frame in your experience is the most accurate? The time frames that I have found the most success with, 30-minute, 2-hour, and a daily. 30-minute, 2-hour daily. You can't make out what the dog's looking at. 847 is the spot to watch for Nvidia. 847, you said? I mean, yeah, so you're pretty much just lining up with this here. So, I mean, if you really want to be diligent about it, you take the closing bars here, and you say that right there. Look at that, it lines up with the wick. It wasn't closing below, wasn't closing below. So if we close below this, that's where you could see some volatility. I don't use the 15-minute often. I would say that. I don't use it often. As far as making a trade, I still look at it. You want to do the luck plays, just do some earnings? Screw you, man. Screw you. I ain't doing. You guys, I've told you about Zillow so many times. You guys just love when I lose $8,000. That was the last. That was I think 3 years ago. I traded Zillow, lost $8,000, and I said, "F it, never doing earnings again." So yeah, but this is a great level, Chad. This is a great level. I'm so sorry, but your name's Chad, and for some reason, everyone thinks that's funny, and even I think it's funny. But I appreciate you being here, Chad, and thank you for the question. Yeah, this is a great level to pay attention to. So this is sitting right at 840.64 is where I would really look at this if it starts to break down. Because if you start, 847 could be where it is. You'll notice I look at the shorter time frames, right? I look at a 15-minute, I look at a 5. It's just for my trading strategies, those are the ones I use the most. Chad was a normal name. And I love that your name is just Chad D. Chad D. You should add an S. You should add an S on the end of your name for your YouTube. Chads. My name's Chads. What's my middle initial? D? That's right. You can call me Chads D. Oh, god damn. Oh, god, that'd be so funny. Now, I was successful with Apple earnings recently, but that had so much triple divergence behind it. That was back during the last pop. It had so much triple divergence behind it that I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a play here. Chad Bob. Your name's Chad Bob. I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. My name's Luke Ass, so similar. So yeah, the thing with this is, Chad, if you want this, it needs to break below 840. I mean, look how much that's sitting pretty much right at 840. So really want to pay attention to this 5 minute, dips into negative territory. We have that opportunity to break this, right? You can say left head, this could be the right shoulder, right? It matches pretty well. It's pretty good. It comes up into a point of liquidity. Sorry, that drawing was terrible, but comes up into a point of liquidity with this high right here. So this is a liquidity grab, and it could start to break down. So as a person with calls in this right now, I do not want this to break below here. I either want it to form that right shoulder to head up, left head, right shoulder, or I want to hold up for some kind of maybe double bottom, coming down like this, giving me another point of divergence right next to positive territory. Lift. Sold stock while you were losing and bought it when it dipped, which eventually made you win. My case with I've studied a lot of psychology, by the way, guys. I'm kind of I don't know if it's the ADHD. I like to become a nerd about random things, and psychology is one thing that I really, really did. And so I don't like to do things that could possibly build a bad habit. If I say take an earnings play, it loses 20%, and then I take a hero play to make my money back and it makes back 10%, and say I make, 80% of my money back or something like that. It can be rough because the next time that happens, it might not go as well. Now, I could say this. You said, have you ever sold a stock while you were losing and then bought it when it dipped? Okay, so you kind of treated it like Apple maybe. So you were like, oh, I bought Apple here. It tanked. And so I bought it here. And then now I want it to bounce. So I would just say be very careful. It's kind of hard to answer that question, to be totally honest, because I wouldn't take a trade here. So this is kind of a bad example. But let's say I had structure here for a 2-hour divergence, and so I thought that was going to bounce. It got ripped away. Well, then I would say, okay, should I get out of this? I'm a position trader, so I have a month to decide if I need to get out of this or if I want to hold it. Let me see. Is there a triple divergence forming? Okay, let me see if that triple divergence forms. Okay, now we see that cross up. Oh, okay, triple divergence looking like a strong move, looking like it's going to cross. Maybe since I lost some money, I'm going to get into this a little bit early and then see if this plays out. And then if it crosses, I can be more confident, switch over to my daily scale and see if that crosses. Then I know a strong move is coming and I can hold that and make my money back. Is that better? Sorry, I'm new here and missed the beginning. That's all right. You can ask questions, Nix. What do you think of Lyft? We could look at Lyft. I haven't looked at Lyft in a long time. Oh, like one of the fun plays I did was Lucid. Lucid was a fun play. Lyft, you could be getting a slightly lower high here. This could curl down, see if it gets into negative territory. I'll look at a 30-minute because, yeah, there's divergence right here. This divergence is great. Now it is kind of lackluster, like sideways price action, MACD dipping towards the center line. So you do have the potential here, if it wants to curl up one more time, kind of solidify that 2-hour divergence up in this area. Sure, that could happen. Right now, I'd just look at a daily scale, see if I would even trade this at this point. I would say I'm probably not trading this at this point. You do have divergence here, divergence between all this. If that starts to cross over, it can get ugly. But you could see that head and shoulders possibly form in the near future. So something like that. What's going on with Lyft right now? And investor filed claimed against Lyft for 500 BP PR error. Cool. Where's Nvidia going to go? Well, nobody knows exactly where any stock is going. You guys know that? Did you guys know that no one except for Nancy Pelosi knows exactly where a stock is going. Well, and obviously probably the CEOs and things like that who obviously have the data before us, and the Fed. Most likely the Fed knows exactly where stocks are going all the time. But as far as Nvidia goes, there's two real things you can pay attention to here. The 5-minute, you have that divergence. We show there's a divergence to the other, oh my God, the other way on the VIX. So this would be a chance for this to roll up. I would just pay attention to if this hourly or if the 30-minute, if the 30-minute's able to curl up, we can see a stronger move here. But you'll notice as I pull up the 30-minute, there's also a bearish scenario. That would be left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And if we just measure this out, this can see a significant drop. Okay, guys, it really can. Will this happen? I do not know, but I will position myself based on, what reasons I have to take a trade here. Right now, I think that for a fun play, I can take a little bit of Nvidia to some upside, but you'll notice if we start to drop through here, we might come fill this gap all the way at 675. So we could be seeing a major top be formed in Nvidia even right now, right before CPI. So I about lifted $12 and planning to book profits now. I think that is a very prudent decision that you're making. I think that is great. If you guys do ever get into my course and we get to the profit taking part, I really try to be like, I'm no nonsense. I take profit. If I get a bad gut feeling and I'm green, I take profit. I go, there will always be another trade. Don't sit there and let's look at this. Meta. I took profit. Where did I take profit? Right here. I took profit right here. This is because, hey, I just took that trade. I just made a ton of money. I doubled my money in this option play. I literally 100%ed it in a day and a half. Okay, cool. I now have that there. Guess what? It breaks down lower. I could have been like, oh my gosh, I could have made 160% if I just held a little bit long. Why would I do that to myself? You have to really think to yourself, a lot of people lose money in the market. I think, hopefully you guys know that. A ton of people lose money in the market. So the fact that I made money right here is awesome. It is awesome. And I should be clapping. I should be high-fiving. I should literally be like the most pumped guy in the world. Like that is something huge. You were green. Do you know how many people were red today? I think it's like any given day, it's like 70% of the market is red, is in the red. Oh God, Tactical Ted, what happened? What happened, Tactical Ted? You got to tell me. Loss was 2.8% finalized for the day on the whole balance, so I am just trying to understand if I lose, should I aim for 2% and less? You mean getting out of a trade, William? Woo! Dude, nice job, Tactical Ted. I know, I probably told you, like, hey, still, I think I said gold, everything in a big crash, a lot of things still crash down. When do you take your loss? 1 to 2%? My way of taking losses, which actually this is a good point. Someone did bring this up in the overall course. They said they wanted me to tackle the when to get out of a trade, when to take a loss a little bit deeper. So I am going to be adding another video to the course. If you already did take the course, you can go back and that video will be up. I'll try to get it out by this weekend. It's kind of like a way to take profit. So what I like to do, not take profit, when to take a loss. So let me find, like, let's go to Nvidia and we'll do like this 5-minute here. So I'm not necessarily looking for a percentage loss. I'm looking for the structure or the trade that I'm taking to unconfirm, if that makes sense. Right now, this is getting into positive territory. It's crossing on the MACD. Sure, it's crossing down to the negative side, and I could get out of this, right? I could get out of it, see if this base is out, then comes up and take that trade again. That is perfectly fine. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I will take this, like you guys said, 1 or 2% loss, and then get back in it if it turns back around to the upside. But as of right now, this looks like maybe ABC pattern. I have some structure here. I'm not going to get out of this until I start to see it maybe come below this on the MACD or break through this price point right here. That is where I would say, hey, I'm out. The good part about the way I trade is I take month out positions. Therefore, when I do see drops down to here, I don't lose too much. Like, I really don't. And I'm being very risk managed right now. So I'm not putting a ton of money behind trades. So even if I lose 20%, like down in here, if it starts to break through 20%, I just want to be open to the fact that I have month out positions. If this curls down and curls back up, if this curls down and curls back up down in here and doesn't close below this low, well, I could have a divergence and have some kind of double bottom to spring me higher. So I am very open to flipping back and forth. So if I think, hey, this is going to cross, boom. Okay, so in order for that to cross, I really want to see if the 30-minute crossed. 30-minute didn't cross yet. So this is where I could be a little more hesitant. Once this 30-minute crosses, I can be more confident. But until that happens, I need to be a little cautious. That means I have two things to think about. I could either get in and get out, get in, didn't break to the upside enough, like didn't break up and then come down and retest. So, or I could hold through this and scale into the position. Tactical Ted got smoked on the puts. This stock is textbook bubble garbage. Yes, 100%. And that is why it is my fun play this week. Tactical Ted, you said it looked good, but wait for confirmation on the weekly. Great advice. I went in a bit prematurely. Hey, that's all right. That's good. Watching gold for a move higher. Yo, I need to organize this over here. Where did we talk about that? That was a few days. That was like days ago, wasn't it? Was it this? It was like this bar up here, maybe? Or was it a break of this area? I don't necessarily remember. I don't really remember what we talked about there. But great trade here. Let's look at this from a, just a trading perspective. Let's see. We have triple divergence. We have triple divergence up here. Okay, we have triple divergence on gold. Did that lead to a full reversal? Sure, we got into negative territory for a brief moment, but was that selling significant to break some key levels? Key level. No. Curls up into positive territory. Get that crossing. Boom, we go to the races, we break through this level. You can feel very confident with this bar right here that it's going to go up. My price target was 205.65, by the way. Around 9. Definitely possible. Looks like rotation in the Apple. Remember we were talking about that last week, how people can rotate into Apple, possibly from the AMDs, the Metas, the Nvidias. Tesla seeing that rotation a little bit, but starting to fade. But you'll notice once that starts to fade, what do we see with Nvidia? Nvidia starts to buy up. So this is something we'll really look at. Maybe just keeping this 30-minute here. 5-minute. Actually, we can go 5. Let's go 5-minute. Let's have some fun with it. We'll watch this. This is that right shoulder we're talking about. Grabbing some liquidity in here. Grabbing some liquidity at this high. We could see this pop higher now. And look how close it is to positive territory. I just really want to flip back and forth between the VIX. Look at the VIX starting to drop off. If this 5-minute goes into negative territory, we know the 15-minute divergence has confirmed. We just want to see when this hourly actually crosses. We're going to see a significant pullback in the VIX if this hourly crosses. We want to just make sure to be aware with the VIX. If this crosses and is short-lived, maybe we come fill that gap, turn around, see if this turns back up in positive territory. If it digs down a little deeper, we could see bullishness for a little bit of time because we have structure. This wants to dip lower and then get that bounce. Well, this could be all the way down in here, get a bounce, roll back down. So you have to be open to both. Right now, you're seeing that 15-minute divergence. Looks like once it rolls over this hourly, you can feel very confident. That's how I treat it in my head. Have you looked at banks lately? Powell hinted there could be more bank failures. He did not hint it. And he did not hint it. Jerome Powell literally said, there will be some bank failures. That's how he said it, too. There will be some bank failures. That's how he said it. Oh my God. Like that is, he did not, a hint, he said it, my friends. And that's just dead-legged myself, guys. God damn. Okay. Let's go back over to Nvidia, by the way, before I start going on a tangent. But is Bank of America, or what'd you say? I mean, Bank of America, daily scale. Look at that. They're topping out. Like, you have divergence here. You have divergence forming. That is very important to note. You have divergence forming. This has not confirmed yet. If it wanted to confirm right now, you'd actually have a triple divergence. Then you want to pull up a weekly. Let's see how it looks from the weekly scale. Not the worst look in the world. This is a great, you were talking, who was talking about investing? Someone was like, hey, I'm new. I need to learn how to invest. Usually when I hear invest, I think of weekly charts, because that means you want a very good buy point for a long period of time. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Triple divergence. Very likely to get into positive territory. This was a good little trade. Now you are at that 200 on the weekly. You're starting to get above it. You notice these are starting to get tighter. So a big move could come. Currently, you still have that opportunity on the weekly to go into a negative trend. I just want to point that out. Yes. 2 hour not looking the worst, honestly. It's not too crazy here. All right, I'm gonna leave it on Nvidia for a little bit. I am clicking around way too much, guys. Let's just really watch this, see if it wants to click up. Got position open on Bank of America into 2015. Which way, Phantom? Tell me which way. SMH semi, not a good look. No, semiconductors look absolutely terrible. Yeah, these are what are holding up the market too. So this is worrisome. Now you'll see that's a parabolic move. So we can see bumps in the road on the way, but we also can see that elevator down. So got to be aware of that, especially going into tomorrow. Weekly side, no real divergence here. This is looking like Nvidia. So this is Nvidia SMCI. That's what this is right here, which is a scary thing. Yeah, even the monthly coming above. Look at that divergence creating on the monthly scale here. So if this curls over for a few months, not going to be good news. Look at that topping out too. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to bounce around, guys. All right, so this is something that, we were talking about, taking losses. So if I get scared out of every position, I'm not that confident of a trader. I would say that. But this is the structure I was looking for. So until this structure is violated in some way, I'm not going to get out of this position. Now, let's say all I want is this head and shoulders. Then I would say once this starts to dip lower, if this breaks this low, that would unconfirm the head and shoulders, so I'd be out of the position. That's how I do it. And I know I do things my way, but if my way is working, then I'm going to try to explain it to other people. That's the whole point of this channel. Be helpful. And hopefully it's helpful to a few people. I know you guys probably all have your ways of taking losses, 1 to 2%, but I can tell you one thing. Let me tell you this. When we were in that bear market and I was trading Apple, here, I'll even show you guys. Maybe it's I think it's a, let me get to that area first. Apple. I'll tell you guys where I used that bear market strategy the last time was down in this area. It was actually throughout most of this, and this is what we go over in the course. You see this divergence here, pop to the upside. Pretty good stuff. Now, what I wanted to do was go into a 30-minute. I'll show you guys a little something. Oh, now we're back here. We go all the way back. Okay, this is a good one right here. All right, so this one here is probably one that I took. Now look at this. We have a slight divergence, flatness. We have this divergence here, slight flatness here of the MACD, flatness of the RSI. Okay, so I take this to the upside and I say, hey, this could reverse over. The 2 hour did cross on this most likely, and it curls back down. Well, this curls back down. So I could have got faked out of this, right? I could probably, you know, what the most likely scenario here for what I did would be, hey, this could head to lower prices. It's crossing over. It's got a lot of room in this MACD to the downside. So I'm in the profit right now. Let me just take profit here, see if the trade sets up in the future. I'm always just looking for the next trade, taking profit when I can. So this is a pretty good move, pretty quick. Drops off a little bit, take profit, make 20, 50%, something like that. Then it drops down lower. Well, now I have a divergence that's really close to positive territory, which is a much better sign. Maybe I take a gamble and say, hey, this is going to be a double bottom. Maybe we curl up from here. Or I could even wait until after the news. The 30-minute divergence confirms. What happens after it confirms from this base down here with this divergence, pops up higher and keeps going. This would be a great trade even if you took right here. And then it starts to go up. I take my money pretty quick because this is a decent move even from here. This is still almost 5%. And an option, on an Apple option, I can tell you guys, you only need like a 3% move to double your money if you take like a month out play. I think it's like 3 to 5% every time. So this right here is a great trade setup. This is where I was using that strategy that I teach on my course. And these are the things you learn about in the course. These are what you really want to learn, the strategy you can use, but you need to learn this type of stuff. Okay, this one didn't go well. How would I take profit here? Well, if I'm in the money, I can be okay with this crossing over, taking profit, being wrong here, see if another trade sets up. Another trade did set up. Now I can take that play to the upside. Does that make sense? Jared, I have a bullish play right now. That's the only thing I have. I have a bullish play. Sorry, I'm really messed up right now on this chart here. Let me get back to like a hourly so I can see where I'm at. Jesus, guys. We went into a zoo. All right, there we go. So let's go into a 5-minute. I actually will leave it here now. So now you see this. I could have faked myself out if I just got out of this, right? I could, let me see how much I'm down. Let me see, I'll tell you how much I'm down right now. I am down 12% right now. Listen to me, I'm down 12%. Just remember that. I'm down 12%. But this structure looks great, doesn't it? This structure looks good. So I'm down 12%. And I can tell you that there were times when I was using this strategy where I was down almost 40%, still scaling into a position because it still looked good. Until the structure is gone, that's what I'm really waiting for. This structure is still here. Oh, I have calls, my friend. Like I said, I'm kind of waiting for CPI, so I'm just taking a fun play, guys. Don't read into it too much. Rob! Yes, Robert, we were talking about you like all day. You guys, this is Robert. Everyone welcome Robert. We were actually talking about your question, which is taking profit, right? Or not taking profit. I'm sorry. It was when to get out of a trade. And that's what I'm kind of talking about right now. And I'll have to maybe go back at the end for you, Robert. But overall, the way that I get out of trades, like I said, right now I'm down 12%. I think it's 10 to 12%. No, you're good, Robert. You're good. We just love that you're here. So this is a trade setup that I'm in, and it's just a fun play. I'm not saying this is because this is very volatile, guys. I don't encourage you to do this. I've made good money already today. I shorted AMD and Meta and already sold. I'm good, so I'm going to have some fun. Now, this is a trade I am taking. So how would I get out of my position? When would I get out of my position? And Robert, I am going to make a video for this and put it out by Sunday. Let's say by Sunday, because I might need Saturday to do it with baby girl. Okay, so this is my structure. I see a divergence. I see it close to positive territory. It rolled up, but now it rolled back down. So there's really a few options here, Robert. If I see that curl down into negative territory, I could say, hey, I want to get out of this position. It made an okay move. Maybe I can break even, see what the structure looks like in the future. If this head and shoulders does actually play out, I can play the breakout, get back in here, and I'll feel safer. Then I can go over to the 30-minute, make sure that crossed, feel safer there. Now, So that means I sell out the second it curls over into negative territory. That's one option. Now, if this started to dip lower like this, the other option I would say is find the point where whatever structure you're looking at is invalidated. So if this started to get broken, if this blue line started to get broken, we would be breaking a very key level, right? This is a key level. And so if that started to break, I would most likely get out of my position and say, hey, if another trade sets up with this soon, even if it starts to break through and maybe I see a divergence getting created, I still might say, hey, that has the potential to keep going. So let me get out of that move, take a 20% or take a 10 to, am I down 10%? $5%. Now it's down 5%. Anyway, okay, so if it got down to this area, well, if you're taking a call that is a 2 weeks to a month out, you might not see a drastic loss here. This is when it breaks, this is where some stuff can go wrong. So this is the other option, I think, for getting out, the previous low on these shorter time frames. Now we're trading higher time frames, so you can see worse things. So I would encourage you on the higher time frames to do this style here. If the 30-minute crosses over into negative territory, let's say go to Apple. So if I had this play, I'm just telling you guys right now, if I bought Apple here and said this is going to go up, Robert, and this curled down, the fact that it's gained so much room, and I took this trade without a divergence, the fact that it's gained so much room and it's going to curl down, this could curl down into negative territory. It's still technically going to be, yeah, it's positive, but if it curls into negative pretty quick, we can take out this low and go make a new one. So on this one, on the higher time frames, I would highly encourage being like water, getting in, getting out. If this crosses over near negative territory, that's when I'm going to get out of my play. And then if I'm wrong and this goes like this, hits this low, and then comes back up, guess what I get right here? I get a divergence. Another reason, if you already took the course, so you'd know, this would be much better setup than, this potentially going all the way down. So I just want to be diligent and say, hey, let me be a little cautious here. Sometimes, and this is why I have to do the video throughout the week, because I need to get straight exactly how I want to explain these things. But this would be a great trade setup in the future. You didn't take any of this loss. Now you can enter into that trade later. Now, one thing that I do is I look at VIX. So I'll look at the VIX. So let's say right now, if I had puts, let's say I have puts right now on the SPY, and I see structure and everything's going good, but I see a triple divergence on the VIX. I see a triple divergence on the VIX, and that thing is starting to confirm. It's even starting to roll over this 30-minute. It could mean this is going to break and volatility is going to come back in. I'm going to get out of my position. I'm going to get out of my puts if I saw this, just because and it depends on what you're trading, right? But if it's any relation to the SPY, the VIX can help you out. And you would say, okay, the most diligent thing to do here is to take a loss if I'm in a loss right now, see that come down, curl back up. Because if this comes down and curls back up in positive territory, good chance that we're going to see volatility go higher. So why don't I just get out, take a small loss, see that curl up, buy puts at that point, and say volatility is going back into its positive trend here. So I'm good to go. That's overall how I do it. Now, I know that's kind of like not the best explanation. These things, before I make my course videos, I do actually have to like write things down, get it straight, so I'm doing things in the right order and things like that. But Robert, was this at all helpful? And if not, if this wasn't helpful for you, I'm going to really make sure that it is efficient in the video that I put out by Sunday on the course. And if you do own the course, it will be updated and you can get that as well. So you guys can thank Robert, because Robert's can, whenever we see something that you guys see important as part of the course, some kind of question that you have that I feel is good to have in the course, that is something very good. So thank you, Robert, for bringing that to my attention. We are reacting based off of what Robert did. We're putting a new video out on the course so that you guys have that information as well. Yes. Okay, good. Robert, good. And I know we did a 5 minute, so that's a little wonky. On the 30 minute, it's a little bit more like, hey, you know, be a little careful because because those 30-minute ones they can kind of look good. So Apple was a very good example of, hey, I saw 15-minute divergence down here, the 30-minute cross, the 2-hour cross, this is looking good, but if it rolls over, we have potential for more downside. So you want to stay away from that. You already made money in this move most likely at this point, so you can take profit and say, hey, if this crosses over, I'll just wait, see if it holds up, crosses into positive territory, and maybe ride it again later on. And if it comes down lower, see if it creates some kind of divergence for me. But the reason that it's risky and why you should sell out in this case, you should really sell and even take a loss here, is because of how much room is on this MACD. So if this wanted to, it could come all the way like this and touch this point, right? We could come all the way down to 165 before we actually see a bounce, which will eat your option alive. So that is how you can look at things, and I'm glad that was a little bit helpful. The lowest time frame you look at is the 5 minute to look at divergences and even trades. 5 minute. Okay, so the way that you should think about time frames is I always compare it to roulette. Okay, so and not saying like, oh, we're gambling. We're looking at probabilities, and roulette is probabilities. So the thing that I would look at with roulette. Okay, so let's say I have a 30-minute divergence. Well, that would mean in the roulette world, let's say I'm rolling a ball around 10 times per hour. Let's say I'm rolling a ball around the wheel 10 times per hour. Well, what's the likelihood that in those 10 times, I'm going to see 8 black in a row? What is the odds of me seeing 8 black in a row 10 times in an, like 10 with 10 rolls in an hour? Well, it's actually pretty low. It's pretty low. But now let's say that I'm going to roll 300 times in an hour. That would be the 5 minute. The 5 minute is rolling 300 times, or well, I guess we would just multiply it times 6. So 6 times 10, 60 times in an hour. Let's say it rolls 60 times in an hour. Is the probability of me seeing 8 black in a row higher? The answer is yes. If you have more rolls, you have more probability to see something crazy happen. That's why I do not trade the 5 minute very often. If you'll notice, there's plenty of times where you get 5 minute divergences, even like these up here, these flat ones, right? So we see, let's say this one to this one, sure, this one kind of played out, but if we look back one here, this barely played out, and then we saw that keep going. So as you can see, we see crazier things kind of just keep going with the 5 minute. The 30 minute, you're going to get a lot more distinction, right? You're going to get a lot clearer plays. So, you know, slight divergence right here, slight divergence right here. Take a little trade, 2 hour curls over, now you take profit. So yeah, it's just you have more likelihood on the shorter time frames to see crazier or confirmations get invalidated or anything like that, and you have less time to react. So you, and I'm guessing you're taking shorter time plays, shorter expiration, so that means you're losing money faster too. That's why I switched over. I don't do really 5 minutes, but I pay attention to every time frame. I trade around the 30, the 2 hour, and the daily charts. Unless you're, hey, if you're a scalper, you know, more power to you. I feel you. That's just not my exact ballpark. So it's like a math teacher trying to teach you art. I'm not gonna do that if I'm a math teacher because I don't know art. So, but if you're good at scalping, you can really do it. But see, this is not a full break yet. We could get a daily wick again. We could see this react up. I would almost do this. Let's see how this kind of lines up. Let's see if this is kind of a weird ABC pattern. Hey, that would put us in an area where some good selling could come in. Yes. Okay. So yes. And in the course, I believe I said this. Do you remember Robert, do you remember the golden setup? The golden setup, did you like that part? Did you like that part of the course? The 5 rules is part of the golden setup, but the golden setup is where you have those multiple divergences at the same time. So overall, what I like to do is, even in, let's do Nvidia. And I know I'm doing a 5-minute, guys. I know I am. I don't normally do it. I'm having fun. Who let me do it? I don't know who let me have fun today, but I'm doing it. All right. So the 5-minute, okay, this is how I do it, but I do it on the 30-minute to 2-hour and the daily most of the time. I see this divergence, I see it cross, I see it get into positive territory, all good signs. If this is able to go positive one more time, this is going to be probably an explosive move. But we have to be open to this going the other way because it's freaking Nvidia, okay? So what I would do here is I'd be like, okay, I have a 5-minute divergence. What do I have on the 15? And I kind of just go up the line, flatness, flatness, not the best. But if that 5-minute is able to turn up right now, I'd say, okay, is the 30-minute crossing? So now I would sit and watch the 30-minute and just say, okay, let's see what this does. Exactly, Robert. It's the best setup. And I think I showed you the Apple trades where it really worked out. And it's like, and the funny part is, I think every single one I showed along there worked out. And it's like, it's a very, very, it's like a 90% success rate. I back tested it. I think it was 85%. I think it was 85% back tested. Because sometimes you do get the triple divergence, but after that, then it plays out. But yeah, so now I would just stare at this. I'd be like, I did a 5 minutes to a 30, but normally I would look at a 30-minute divergence. Like, let's say it looked something like this, right? And I got this, and I have a 30-minute divergence. Well, now I'm going to stare at the 2-hour because that'll make me feel more confident. So if this 30-minute curls up, I'm going to be more confident. And the other part is, since it's a bullish trend here, if it gets into positive territory, we can really see positivity. And I'm guessing a bunch of people put puts in right here. So I'd really pay attention to my top side of my weekly expected move. That's where the Patreon really comes in handy. So this is what I'm saying. Robert's coming in, giving you guys some very good insight into the course. And Robert, how did you feel about the 5 rules, the 5 reasons to take a trade? How did you like that portion? That was one part I was like, it kind of bounces around. It's kind of like a little bit vague. Like, you have to come up with your reasons. But I just wanted to hear some feedback on that part. Oh, Family Adventures, I'm going to say thank you again for the donation. Because that was awesome. 20 euros, right? Is that euros? Oh, okay. We got a European. I'm American when I stream, but when I'm in the bathroom, what am I? Who knows that joke? I'm American when I stream right now, but when I go to the bathroom. Any difference to Nvidia? I don't have my stuff up on the other one, but we can do this. Yeah, it's a little different. You actually had divergence up here for SMCI. This would have been a great little short-term trade, 30-minute divergence up here. I don't have weekly ranges for it either. European. Yeah, that was that. It's funny when you're a kid, okay? But yeah, there's actually a little trade here, 30-minute divergence across the board, able to get into negative, but don't think that we can't go higher. You're still very close to the center line on SMCI. Kind of, they look pretty similar in this portion. 30-minute curls up, we could see positivity. 30-minute curls up, we could see positivity. That might just be another point of divergence. So what I might do is like draw a point between the two highs here, see if that's able to break to the upside. We could see some kind of move like this come up into like 1300, 1200, somewhere in between there. Dad joke. You know what's weird? It's still weird to be called dad all the time because I'm so used to being called daddy. God, you know? It's just a weird adjustment. Okay, good. Thank God someone laughed at that. Happy Friday. Thank God. But yeah, SMCI, it's a very similar take here. No divergence here really on you do have that kind of downward divergence slightly on the RSI here, but nothing on the MACD, which tells you this is most likely a pullback as well. This here, you actually have that divergence, so it does have the opportunity to reverse more probabilities. But if that just curls up, it's right by positive territory. We can see a move. Oh, are you guys laughing? Yeah, it's nice. The only part that I needed confirmation was so you use the 20 and the 50 EMA retest on the daily as one way to take a trade. But sometimes things are just so far from those SMA. If you're talking about, is it... So, oh, okay. I think I might understand. How do you do it now? What about Tesla going down? I mean, this could still be that handle at this point. This could still be that handle, right? We got the cup in here. We got a deep handle. Now, if we get a small one here, we can actually head up. You're going towards positive territory with this divergence here, right? We still have divergence down here. Like, I feel like you might just miss out on upside waiting for a retest on the daily. And you don't necessarily need if you have the setup there, you can take the setup. It's overall just to tell you on the daily scale, you can see that strength come in and get a retest first. It's not saying you have to take profit here, actually. Like, you can, and then you can get back into it. And hopefully I made that pretty clear. So let's say we do have divergence down here on Tesla, by the way. We can see a strong move out of Tesla, just so everyone's aware of what we've been pointing out on YouTube. If you guys haven't been watching my videos, rude. But we've got divergence here. Boom. If this wanted to confirm, I don't see much divergence down here to convince me to get into it besides a 30-minute. So I don't think I'll play this because it's pretty dramatic. But if this wanted to confirm, most of the time what ends up happening is you see a big reaction, you get a retest, and then you go up. So overall, your thinking is, I could take this play up here, say on like a 2-hour. A lot of the time, the 2-hour MACD will actually look like this one here before it goes higher. And sometimes that goes higher. But a lot of the time, when you get these types of reversals, just talk about this. You should be, if you're seeing the shorter time frames, by the way, you should be entering positions somewhere down in here. Right, there's probably a 2-hour divergence right here that you could get into this move early with that 2-hour confirming. The way that you want to look at the daily is as a more confident thing. So once I see that cross on the daily side, I go, okay, here tells me I can be a little more confident. Now that's a red bar, so that could be a little rough, but from this area, we normally get a retest of something. So if I watch a 2-hour, we go back into this area. Well, first of all, let's see if there was any kind of divergences here. There was. So here's your first thing. Oh, there was right here. But let's go back, actually. Let's see. Was it this move? Yeah, we'll say this move. Okay, this move here. This is it. So what was there? There was divergence, right? Boom. Right there. You actually should, if you're listening to the course, you should be in this position here. All right? Because now you're just waiting. That daily cross gave you confidence. Even if you get this dip, well, you can watch the 2-hour. If you're a little hesitant, you want to get out because you made money already, and then you can get back in. So here you can sell out, or up here, if you think there's going to be weakness, you can sell out. Boom, it comes down. See that cross again. Now you see that positivity. You guys live, you're getting so much good stuff today. You guys should thank Robert. So you don't have to get out for a retest. It's just, I suggest it because if you're going to see a big move higher, if you want to look at Apple, like back during a bull market or bear market rally, so this one here, we have that divergence. I'm just telling you the safer way. You'll notice this, right? See, we got that divergence, we pop up, and then we test a lower level. Let me see that go again. Okay, so what I'm saying is, once you know there's daily divergence, you can pretty much be like, the probability of a bear market rally with this divergence is very high. It actually is very high in a bear market to see divergence on the daily scale and get some kind of rally off of it. So from here, you can switch to a 2-hour and literally swing trade this up. You no longer want to necessarily, use the exact strategy, but you can still use the things that you learned. You can say 2-hour crossing in positive territory, boom. Consolidation, crossing in positive territory, boom. Consolidation, crossing in positive territory, boom. Consolidation, crossing in positive territory, boom. Now you would want to look for if there's any divergences in this area. All right, we're gonna watch stocks. I'm sorry, Robert. That's all I can do for today. We'll think about in the future adding like the one-on-ones and things like that, because I know that people were excited about that a little bit. Let's watch Nvidia, see how my terrible trade is going. So this is consolidation sideways. We can see that dip a little bit lower. I'm all good for questions. I hope that was helpful, Robert. Like I said, I don't want this to be... I really don't want this to be like you take the course and you're just in the dark forever, especially if you're like a part of the Patreon and things like that. I would highly encourage that. As far as trading goes, those weekly ranges will really help you out. So Robert, I do encourage that. I don't know if you're on there just yet. I can't remember, but very, very helpful. And you can always send me a message there. I don't get to them right away, but probably within like 72 hours, I usually get to the questions. So I think we break above 140 and higher. Yeah, I've been putting the weekly ranges on the charts. Very good, Robert. Very, very good. That is a very good thing to do. So nobody else in the chat, unless they're part of the Patreon, but you know exactly what the market has expected for Nvidia to go up or down for this week. Isn't that awesome? Satoshi Nakamoto, when WikiLeaks started accepting Bitcoin donations, 2011. Look at where we're at now compared to that too. Sorry, opinion on Google, I think 153. Well, we can take a look at Google. We haven't looked at that in a little bit. It's kind of making a move higher here. What I just want to see is, I like to look at the daily first, see what's happening. You're about to come up into a very important point, but we can see strength out of Google here. Look at that cross. Still kind of close to positive territory. It's still a chance that this is some kind of retest to just go lower. Just be aware of that. But as far as the next one would go, 2-hour, I mean, you have a divergence kind of like far away. You have these divergences that keep trying to get those little bounces. So I would really like this to get closer to positive territory first. Even if it comes up to this point, consolidates a little bit. This is what we were talking about, left head, right shoulder. I would like this to actually roll over a little bit more and then curl up. That would give me a little bit more confidence, a little bit more basing out right here. That'd be a good thing. Be very careful with your trades, guys. CPI tomorrow. Market pretty resilient with the VIX up. Well, the funny part about the VIX is it looks like it's about to possibly tear down. So we were talking about that 15-minute divergence. We really want to pay attention to the hourly rolling over. This is very, very likely to happen today. You're welcome, Dawson. Hopefully that was helpful. That's for Nvidia until Friday. Will it go up? Will it go down? I don't know exactly, but we've talked about Nvidia a lot. We can leave that up here. As far as what we see, the only thing I really see is the 5-minute here. If you want to pay attention for upside, 30-minute in positive territory on the MACD. If that 30-minute curls up, good chance we're going to go test the previous high. But right now, not seeing that strength. But I'm in this right now. If it wants to break through here, I will get out of this play. Data tomorrow. Yeah, we have CPI tomorrow, bro. Hell yeah. God, Robert, that's what I'm talking about. That is the best thinking. You took profit. Big event coming out tomorrow. what are your chances of losing that profit tomorrow now that you took profit? What is the probability of you losing the money you made today based on tomorrow? It's 0. 0. Isn't that crazy? Now, if you miss out tomorrow, find another trade. You're fine. What can CPI do to the market? Well, if it comes, people have been really talking a little bit bearish about CPI. They're trying to say it's going to come in line still, but a lot of people bearish. We took like we just had you guys say yes or no if you thought CPI was going to come in hot or cold, or be bad or good for the market, right? Or if Nvidia was going to hit 1,000. In order for Nvidia to hit 1,000 this week, you probably need a good CPI reading. Like you need either lower or as expected. I think as expected can get fishy. If it comes in at expected, we could see a bounce up, but then does PPI like make it fall flat on its face? Does a bank fail? Like there's just so much out there that can tear us down. That's why, guys, there's so much stress that can be in the market today and this whole week that since I already made money today, I'm having some fun. Gotta stay in a good mental. We're gonna go for let's watch this for about 15 more minutes. Let's see if anything carves out in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. You guys chill for a moment by yourself. Talk amongst yourselves for just a moment, okay? Teamwork. This thing on. Oh, I'm sorry. Guys, I muted you. I had to go to a potty. There it goes. A little bit blurry, but it'll fix itself. Yeah, sorry guys. I had to go to the bathroom. Sometimes my bladder fills up and I have to release said bladder into a toilet every once in a while. I know everyone's like, oh god, this guy's stream lagged out again. Piece of sh. Oh. Alright. Alright, guys. Alright. What's going on in the market? Oh shoot, there's something I was gonna look at. Hey, Amin Jenkins, welcome to the Patreon. Debusta, thank you for the call. Look at those later tonight. All right, this structure's still looking pretty dang good, guys. Like, it does not look bad. Hi, mate. Can you check AVG? Sure, real quick, Broadcom. No. Yikes, 5 minute. We don't want to do that. Ooh, okay. You're starting a negative trend on the 30-minute. You got to see bullish side. This thing needs to do some work, get back into positive territory. Bear side, flag drop. This thing can keep dropping. Nothing really to tell me it has to go higher. Let's check the daily scale here. Daily scale, you got that to confirm. You just confirmed divergence. If you know one thing that is a rule on my channel, at least something that's a rule for myself, I just share it with my channel. I never take calls on a stock that just crossed on its daily MACD to the downside. I just won't. I don't care what the short time frames look like. It's something that's burned me before. I won't do it. Now, how this could break down, great liquidity in this zone. So if we do see some selling down into this area, maybe a little bit higher, we can see some kind of right shoulder. A lot of head and shoulders popping up across the board. It'd be very interesting if all of them set up, but Broadcom not looking the best right now. But I really want to pay attention to Nvidia for the last 10 minutes here. Just see if we can get some structure to break to the upside. You know what I'm saying? What's my educational background? I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I was with the highest funded marketing agency in Kansas, in all of Kansas. I was in the highest funded marketing agency. I used to be the marketing guy. So I was someone who would come in, I would run your whole marketing, and then I would run your social accounts, and I did about 13 accounts at the same time. And one of my big things was in the first month, I was like setting records for every business that I was working for. So that's something I did. I got into the fundamental style of stocks when I was about maybe 20 years old. I thought I had a great play with a company. I did a ton of research on it. All looked good. The numbers looked great. I invested a bunch of money into it, and the stock went to zero. Turns out all the information they were posting was fraudulent. So I said, screw fundamentals, went away for a few years. I actually, during that time, started my own app. I built with my brother an app that shows you restaurant specials for local restaurants near you. And it was going very well. And then COVID hit. I lost my business, lost my house. I lost everything in COVID. And then that's when I started to get more serious about stocks. And at the same time I was doing stocks, I was actually a TikTok star. A Chiefs fan. I'm not the biggest football guy. I like playoffs, but are you on every day? Yeah, I try to be on Monday through Friday. Usually I'm not on this long. I was just enjoying myself today. We were having some fun here, you know? So yeah, I've done a lot. I was a TikTok star for a while. I was a semi-pro soccer player that almost played for the New York Red Bulls, but then I dislocated my shoulder. Worked for an ad agency that was pretty good, and then started my own app. COVID ruined that right when it was going well. Well, I was a comedic TikToker. I really like making fun of feminine comedy. So I would just say like witty things, and since my brand was around my app at the time, it was related to alcohol. So I'd make jokes around alcohol a lot because nothing's funnier than making fun of girls about wine, and they just thought it was funny. That is how I met the mother of my child. She thought I was hot, sent me a DM on Instagram. I thought she was hot. Politic. And actually, well, I mean, she's cool. She was into cosplay and she got me into anime. She was very cool. Is. She might be watching. She is very cool. Not was. Is. But yeah. I had a page there. It's just once you get big enough on the social, like if you notice I don't have social media, I think I have my TikTok as a just in case I need some marketing in the future. So I probably still have like 250K followers. Aw, Dawson, I'm sorry. If it helps. I don't watch a ton of anime. And I don't watch the girly stuff. Write a book on drunk women. Dude, Nashville is like Nashville is the capital of girls from other states in cowboy hats, cowgirl hats. That's like every single girl from out of Nashville that goes to Nashville wears some kind of like cowgirl outfit. No, I think I have a Twitter just to like have it. I'm pretty sure, but I don't update anything on it. Thank you, Sid. Yeah, I don't have anything on it. It's just in case. I mean, like, I don't even have Twitter on my phone, guys. You don't understand. When you get to the level that I was on TikTok, not saying like, oh, I was this huge whatever, but I would sell sweatshirts through TikTok and make like $6,000 a month. But once you get to that level, you'll start to realize like, oh, like social media people are kind of shitty. Like I'm just, that's just how my experience with it. They're not, it didn't seem like real friendship. It seemed like we can only be friends if you have enough clout. Hey, well, thank you, Family Adventures, and thank you for the donation. I mean, that's awesome that you like you feel that this is valuable enough and entertaining maybe enough to actually send your hard-earned money. I really do respect that, and I don't take it lightly. But yeah, once you get to that level, you start to run into some crazy people. Not necessarily crazy, just people who seem like they're using you. It's kind of like the whole David Dobrik thing. Like, are those people really friends with David Dobrik? He just shits on them all the time. Now your live videos are really helpful. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like watching this live. I mean, you guys, Robert came in today. I wanted to tackle his question about the course, which is 50% off for just this month. Once we go into a bear market, it's going to be $199. Yeah, the overall goal is to be helpful. Once I saw, hey, live video can be more helpful, I started doing live video. And that's really the only thing that we're doing. So every time I see something that can be more helpful, I'm going to try to implement it in some way. Still waiting on this 5-minute to curl up here. We're going to give it about 3 more minutes, and then I probably have to hop off for a little bit. Also on Patreon, I'm thinking about just having a end of day live stream on Fridays, like the last part of the day, like the last hour and a half, 2 hours, strictly for Patreon members only. I'm thinking about doing that. Maybe if you are part of the Patreon, just send me a message or comment somewhere saying like, hey, that's a good idea. I would enjoy that. I just wanted to give something a little bit exclusive to you guys, like an exclusive live show every Friday afternoon. I felt like that would be fun. Let's see, how much do you think Nvidia will go down? Oh, well, yes, Sid. Yes. So the reason that we actually have such bad things is because, whether you like it or not, Trump actually did put in the first bit of stimulus stuff, right? All that stimulus that came in. But the reason that it got out of control, I believe, and don't hate on me, this isn't about politics. I'm just telling you how I saw the timeline. When Biden took over, he not only reversed the illegal immigration, but he continued what Trump was doing. In the books, it was supposed to end when Trump got out of office, or by that time that he was reelected. but Biden came in and took that out, so the stimulus continued. At least that is my understanding. Maybe if someone knows more about it, they could correct me. But yes, and in that case, that hurts you 1,000,000 times more than COVID. COVID in 2020 was, we're all going to die. COVID in 2021, it's going to be the worst throat, headache, sores ever. And then it's like 2024, we're like, I sneezed a little, have a fever. But I'm sorry, I'm just not one of those guys that's very, like, scared of health. I'm a pretty healthy guy. Steinway. Steinway, how's the course going? This is my one vice, and I do it because I have ADHD. It keeps me balanced. One more, please. ADBE, and I'm pretty sure you're part of the course, Steinway, or at least part of the Patreon, so we'll look at that for you. Adobe. Ooh, okay. Oh, interesting. There's kind of oh, I'm on a 5-minute. Oh, shit. Idiot. Okay. This is actually pretty interesting here. Now, you still got to be a little careful, but 30-minute wise, crossing in positive territory. Kind of got like a cup a little low here, handle. There's potential. Let's look at some higher time frames. 2 hour. Oh god, this is gonna have it, isn't it? Damn, I was hoping for some kind of like divergence or something. So this one, I might do something like this. Boom. Draw this across. Maybe even copy that. This could be some kind of weird thing going on. Boom. There's those connecting pretty well there. So you're kind of in a flag here, just so you do know. So be a little careful if you get excited to the upside. But if you wanted to take a play here, it makes sense. Market doesn't really want to go down, still euphoric phase. I wonder what it will do with a hot CPI. I don't have no positions, just waiting for tomorrow. Very good habit. Even a hot CPI might not cause a downturn. Like we said, when you're in this bullish of a run, and by the way, let's look at the daily for you. Let's finish this up for you, Steinway, okay? You got above, I mean, if you're a swing trader and you know how to swing trade, this is your setup, right? Big crash down, a lot of price action down, curling up, above the 5 in this case, and above the 200. You can see a good move here. The only thing I would say is look at this structure. Be a little careful once you get up to here. Make sure you're breaking through that pretty with some conviction. I'm not seeing that fade back down if you break through it, because this could just be a flag to move a little bit sideways. See that second rollover. So this is, you do have to be a little careful, but this is what a swing trader would do here. So I totally understand your thinking here. I would just say be a little cautious if it does this and rolls back down, because if that crosses back down in negative territory up here in the future, then we can see it take out this low, make some kind of ABC pattern, right? So that's what I would really pay attention to. And hopefully all that, you see all that. That's what I'm saying. This is what a swing trade. Oh god, you guys, we have earnings on Thursday. Okay, scratch everything we just said. We have earnings on Thursday. I'm yelling. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. We have earnings on Thursday for Adobe. You guys know how I feel about earnings. Okay? You guys know how I feel about earnings. You can totally do this. If you are diehard swing trading and you say, this is how I trade, I totally get it. But all of this is not fun, because you're flipping a coin. You don't know the numbers unless you're able to do your research and you're very confident in it. This thing can cross and go up, but it could just come up to this area, and then once earning comes, there's your ABC pattern. So be a little bit careful here. I'm just warning you about that a couple days in advance. Just be careful around this. If you are going to take upside here, I would just have a stop right around this low. Make sure to have a stop, because if this thing starts to go down like this and complete that ABC pattern, you can lose almost like 100 points. That would be sketch. But as far as swing trading goes, that looks pretty good. Apple's starting to get indecision. Nvidia still sitting at that level. Boeing has been dropping. Boeing might be something that I'm familiar with. Boeing has been dropping. Don't you think it would be a good long play below 190? That's one I'll write down on the side as well for tomorrow because we're coming into the end. I'll write Boeing down. We'll cover Boeing tomorrow morning. Earnings, it does not matter. They can dump the stock based on lackluster guidance. Exactly. Or if it ran up into earnings and the MMs dump it to make profit and buy it back cheap. Earnings is a nasty game. Exactly. And that's why I don't fudge around with it. That ain't my style. I am out of it. You can guarantee that unless I'm seeing some crazy good divergences in the future with, you know, some earnings that are coming out next month, that I might take small plays on them. That's one way I'll give you some leeway. If you're taking small plays on earnings, okay. But if you're taking, you know, even 20% of your portfolio and saying, this is the earnings, this one's it, you have no clue. It's a luck play. Scott, thank you so much. Now, someone did ask something else. Dogs are barking a little. Hold on one sec. Maybe my girls are home. Maybe. What happens? SPY end of day. What positions do you hold long? I'm assuming you just trade in smaller portion portfolio. Yeah, so I have 2 trading accounts, one for investments, one for options. And actually, I have one for very volatile options. I have 3 accounts. But the overall way that I hold long, I can tell you right now, I'm not holding anything long. I have my bond play. Okay, so I am holding one thing long. You guys remember when we talked about this like months ago? Like months and months ago? You guys remember this? When it was like way up here? I think it was like way up here or something like that. And I said, hey, yeah, I marked it off and I said, mark this point on your charts because we're most likely heading towards it. It was 82.50, if you guys recall. Wonder if anyone was around for these videos, but 82.50. We touched it to like almost the penny, right? What's the low on this? Low 82.42. We haven't touched it ever since. So this is what I'm holding right now. I said this is my investment level, 82.50. And I'm still just holding this thing. I know they're going to probably be forced to cut rates soon. So if they're forced to cut rates, TLT. Let's go. Let's see if this was able to roll over on the hourly yet. We're almost there, guys. We're starting to break through the structure, as you can see on this hourly here. Really seeing if this wants to roll over. That positivity can really come in. This 15-minute divergence playing out. Now we could see a little reaction higher, get some kind of, yeah, TLT. Just buy Nvidia 3x leverage and hold it like 3 months. It's going to 10K. No, I think Nvidia, I really think something breaks in the next like 2 weeks, guys. Like I said, March would be wonky, price action wonk. March would be a lot of traps. And then it's funny because that week, the traps literally began in the first real week of March. So that's something to pay attention to there. But Nvidia, Aaron, I totally get it, man. And it's like, I almost sense some like annoyance. I almost sense some like annoyance in your voice. Like, God, yeah, just buy Nvidia 3 times leverage, hold it like 3 months. And, you know, 3 months ago, that would be very, very good advice. Now, this here, we just have to keep an eye on this, see if this structure actually holds here. Pretty good, though. You're getting like a little mini double bottom here in this right shoulder. So we can see that break to the upside. AMD, is this recovering at all? See, this behavior I don't necessarily like. This is kind of more flaggy on the 5-minute here. So this could drop down a little bit lower. Price target maintained with a 190 share. Enter if it's here. Okay, so Meta, same thing. This is something we might put out on Patreon if we see a downward move. SPY yearly trend line. I don't know if I have it up on the full yearly. We zoom. We actually came outside of it on mine just a little bit. Came back down here on the monthly. All right, let's keep it on Nvidia, and I am going to I'll give us a little more time, guys. 5 more minutes, and we'll do our 15-minute breakdown, breaking down all those stocks. So after we're done, make sure to pop over, click on those links down in the description if you want to learn more about this stuff. Take my course. Thank you, Robert, for coming in. Some very, very good questions. Going about the course, very, very good questions there. And we're always here to answer it. Look, he emailed me. I'm there to answer your questions. Thank you for Tesla. I make some money. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. I mean, it's not because of me, guys. I'm just showing you the. You guys are making the decision. That's the important part. You mean, where did your money go? I was kidding. Carlos, is a joke. I'm acting like, oh no, I lost everything. But actually, I made money today on Meta and AMD. If you're here early this morning. Now I'm taking a fun play. Nvidia, let's have some fun for the next day. Sorry, Carlos. I like to put something fun on there. What was it last time? I think we already talked about this. What the heck was it last time? Oh, last time it was I got trapped. Is that Costco? Yeah, we can take a quick look at Costco. Ooh, that thing is dropping. You get this is where you can bounce, actually. 50. This still could be considered some kind of slight pullback. I mean, you do have divergence up here, a little sketch. So you want to see if there's any kind of structure. Sorry, that's my phone vibrating. No real structure. No real structure. 30-minute could cross up, but that could just be a tiny shoulder, right? So we could see that come up and see some kind of lower high. Get that retest in here. I'm just waiting for this 30-minute to curl up. For a second, I read that as Lily dropping, and I was like, my dog's name growing up was Lily. I was like, man, when she was old, her back legs stopped working, so she was dropping. You provide training one-on-one lessons. I'm working on that right now, Pitching Academy. I'm working on doing it to where it's like if you take the course first, you might get like 50% off a 1-hour session. And then if you just want that session, I'm trying to price it out right. But I'm seeing if I have time for it right now with the baby and with streaming and with all this other stuff. I'm working with a startup as well, run by an investor from Coke Industries. So there's just a lot going on. What an interesting day. Actually, let's pop over to the SPY on the short time frame here. See, this is technically this could be flagging, but the other side is on this 5-minute. Look at this. Cup, handle, cup, smaller handle, smaller handle. This is where you could break out to the upside, but this structure here not looking good. If you just roll over, you're going to head lower, probably test the bottom side of that daily expected move. So you really want to see this 30-minute curl up. This is where you can have confidence to the upside. But this could, need a divergence before actually heading higher. So just be careful with this. Qs, similar story, right? You really want to hold up from this area. But if we switch over to a 5-minute, it looks very, very flaggy. But is that just going to break us down to the bottom of the daily? And then we see that divergence come in. That's something I'm more paying attention to. Yeah, nothing really happening on like SPY and Qs. AMD, like my day was exciting, guys. My day was exciting because I woke up and AMD and Meta were down and I was good. I made 100% on both of those options. So, And if you remember, Meta was the one that we just showed you up here, that divergence on the 15-minute up here. Very, very good setup. And then it just happened really quick. You get lucky sometimes with that, where it happens very quick. There's no dip down triple divergence, right? It just dipped down really fast. ABC pattern. Now we have to look, is this going to round out, curl back down? Well, we could see some kind of move here. So Meta is one that I might post a picture of and give a little commentary on Patreon tonight if it sets something up. Yeah, sideways is like the worst. Sideways is like the worst for when it's like, you're like, oh, I'm expecting a move here, and then it moves sideways, and you just see your money slowly deteriorate because it like loses that decay or whatever, that value. Didn't participate further. Yeah, same with me. Meta, I was out right at this base right here. This is actually where I came out because I could see a bounce happening from there. I was up a good amount of money. There's no reason for me to risk it. Now, you do have this cupping in here from the bottom here where you saw some price action. This could be a handle. We could head up. I would really like this to complete that cup up here before heading higher, or actually head lower. I actually would like this to dip down to here, create something down here for me. That would be very, very good. But we got to pay attention to my fun play. This could be going the wrong way on me soon, so I'll pay attention to this. All right, let's do a run through. Let's go to a 30-minute chart and just kind of run through some of these real quick. Okay, SPY. Let's start off with that. All right, we're down towards the bottom of that daily expected move. Okay, so we have a daily expected move. Now, watch out on the 5-minute. We're starting to slightly break through this, so wait for this could actually cross if it gets positive. We can come test this high. We actually could go make a new one, maybe staying in this, coming up to this area by Wednesday. So watch out. CPI can make this flip, though. So we have the potential to see some kind of pop by end of day and see that just ripped away with like an ABC pattern because of the CPI. CPI is going to be very hard to trade. There's such back and forth analysis on it right now. A little bit rough, but curling up in positive territory from the technical side, always a good thing, but be aware of CPI. That can get ripped away from you pretty quick. The Q, similar thing. We're at a point where we really need to head up. We can set up some kind of big head and shoulders, right? So this is your left shoulder. Well, actually, all of this would be considered the left shoulder. Here's your head, and then maybe we either make a small or a big right shoulder, right? We might even come match this one. Now, if it does cross over, you still have to be open to the potential of a higher high here, creating some kind of triple divergence across the way. So that's something you can pay attention to over the next couple of days if CPI comes out bullish for the market and then we see it sell off later. Maybe with like if it comes in at expected or something like that. Apple, one thing mentioning here on Apple, this turning down. Okay, this turning down, we called that people might flight out of Nvidia into Apple. That might have happened because this doesn't look very good from a technical standpoint on the 30-minute. If this rolls down, you have a lot of room now to the downside if it goes negative. So we can either test this low or maybe make a new one. And you still, at that point, would maybe have a divergence here. So just be a little more confident there if we had some divergence and then got some good news with CPI. But right now, not looking the best for end of day for Apple. Amazon, in an area where it really needs to hold up. The cool part about Amazon, you actually have this flatness of the MACD and you have divergence on the RSI right here. So between these lows, you actually have a divergence down here. Now, that's not very strong on the MACD, so you have to be open to and we're pretty far into negative territory. You have to be open to like a little mini head and shoulders in here. We're still creating this big head and shoulders. Breaking through this base is very important. So we haven't done that yet. If this curls up, we're a little deeper in negative territory. So look for that to curl back down because that could be your lower high. If it remains up there, obviously, it's going to come test this high, maybe test this high. And then for Patreon members, down in the description, you can get on Patreon and get the weekly ranges for Amazon. You might want to pay attention to that as well if some big positivity comes in. Tesla seeing a pretty good move. We were talking about this 30-minute divergence down here. As of right now, you do have that divergence between these points, okay? So what we were saying was, hey, this is a cup. If we get a handle, it can head higher. Well, that handle kind of dipped a little bit lower, didn't break this low. So now we're getting another cup. Maybe this is the smaller handle. to then head higher. You'll see this type of stuff if it wants to head higher, but it just needs to build more liquidity in here. So there's potential here, though. There is potential. Nvidia, you guys know that little bit of structure down here on the 5-minute, looking if it can break through here. Gonna pay attention if this crosses because it's still pretty close to that positive territory, guys. So that means we can test the high, we can go make a new one. I want to be open to a bad reading of a CPI, which would mean I have to be open to some kind of curl back over some kind of lower high. So that means that we'd curl up, get into positive, but then we curl over near negative territory. That would kind of give me a bigger hint. Like, hey, yeah, there's more downside. It's going to take out this level. AMD, very similar thing. It's a little deeper into negative territory, so still a little bit more potential for a lower high, but if it does curl up, this would make sense. Right here, we need to form that right shoulder most likely, so left, head, maybe we go form a right shoulder before that crashes down. Meta, one that we're paying attention to. We gave you the downside range for Meta. We overall talked about on the 5-minute how Meta looks like, hey, it might want to dip a little lower, come like this, create like a 5-minute divergence. That would be something to do. And then the last thing to talk about here is the VIX. VIX crossing over with, we showed you guys all the 5-minute divergence up here and the 15-minute divergence up here. What I like to do from there is see if the VIX is going to roll over on the 30. Then I just pop over to the hourly. Once this rolls over, a lot of those things might be confirming to the upside. So we do have potential for the VIX to fall off here, which means bullishness can come in. If we're going to see continued bullishness for some time, that's most likely going to react pretty hard down to here. We'll get some kind of pullback in the market, some kind of right shoulder for this structure here to head down. But we just want to be very careful because we're still crossed on the daily scale, right? We're crossed on the daily scale. We have CPI coming out tomorrow. We have PPI in a couple days. It's just, it's not pretty. And every time I ever play Nvidia, I sell for a loss, then watch it rip right through my strike the next day. Yeah, that is one of the most frustrating parts of being a trader. And at that point, that's happened to me before where, you know, you make a play, 2 days later it goes right. You make another play, you get out, 2 days later it goes right. You make another play, 2 days later it goes right. Like, it's one of the most annoying things, especially if you're dealing with one stock, to where a lot of the success I found was if I just get away from that stock and focus a little more and really make sure the setup is there for the other stock that I trade on next, it helps a lot. So it's kind of like the definition of insanity. If I keep trading Nvidia and I keep getting the same result, I'm just being insane, right? But if I keep trading Nvidia, I keep getting the same result, and I go, you know, maybe this is just Nvidia. Maybe I'm just not doing a good job trading Nvidia. Let me try to trade something like, I don't know, Meta. Let me try to trade something like Amazon. Let me try that. Boom, then things start to go right. So that's how I would think about that. MicroStrategy, just our last thing we're going to look at here for today. A little bit of an hourly divergence right now. Okay, one thing there, 2 hour probably there as well. So you do have 2 hour divergence on the MACD. Now this hasn't confirmed yet, but you do have that 2 hour divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. You actually have a triple divergence on the RSI. So that's something to pay attention to, what you want to look for if that confirms. Look for that daily. This is just really overextended at this point, hitting a new all-time high, it seems. And I would say from an investment standpoint, not the best place to invest. I much rather would have liked the crossing in positive territory, maybe down at this bar here, 596, ride that wave. But for now, you got to wait for some kind of consolidation, maybe back to the 20 before that go up, maybe back to the 50 before that goes up. So I would say just pay attention to it over the next month, see if this rolls over and rolls back up in positive territory. Good shot if that holds up higher that you're actually going to take out this high. But if it dips lower, you have the potential for it. That's what I would pay attention to there. Good job, review. That's how it goes. Tesla's seeing an uptick, but will that uptick last? We saw some good structure in here. The thing is, if Tesla starts to see some positivity as of tomorrow, like say this week, you do have a divergence down here. You have some momentum dying out. So if there's good news, we can see a pop out of Tesla because of this divergence right here. Once the daily gets into positive territory, you can see this pop over the next month, month and a half, most likely like a month. So just pay attention to that because daily divergences are very, very strong. All right, let's take one more look at Nvidia before I hop off. Is that 30-minute going to cross? We're going to see. You guys are going to have to watch that for me. I got to go for a little bit, but I just wanted to say, you guys, like, thank you so much for joining. I really do have a great time every time I come on here. You guys are liking, subscribing. We're asking about the course. We're looking at our weekly ranges on Patreon. Like, you guys are awesome all around, and that's why there's nothing more that I wish for you guys than to keep learning and all the luck in the world trading. Throughout this week, throughout this crazier time, Nvidia popping up to these levels. It is a crazy, crazy time, and we have to be aware of any downside. The biggest advice moving throughout these next year probably is to trade like water, is to really take profit. Be one of those guys that just, when you see green, it seems like a good amount. You make $200 and you're like, man, I would really like $200, but I have potential to make 5. Sometimes it is best to just say, am I better off with a guaranteed $200 or a 50-50 chance at $500? If you're the guy that takes the 200 every time, you're always going to win. You're going to be green, and like someone just said, 90% of traders, Carlos, they lose money in the market. So if you're one of those people that can make $200 and say, I'm out, kind of like I am. I told you guys today. Let's look at my meta trade. Where did I get out of my position? I have the price target. Like, I literally was like, I'm going to wait till it goes below this line, and then I'm going to sell. And then I went, oh, this happened really fast. I made 100% on my option, and we're coming into a base. Let me just get out of this even with the selling. I'm going to get out of this. I made my money. I'm fine. That's a good way to do it. I'm watching Ron Walker a lot. Stay even keel. I try to stay even keel. Your thoughts on Nvidia after CPI. What do you think will happen? What do I think will happen? If you guys want my opinion, this is an opinion. It's not. I don't know what the CPI reading will be. I don't know what the reaction to the CPI reading will be. We could get a hot reading and see a good reaction because Nvidia puts out news that it just did $1 million deal or $100 million deal with someone. So I would just say this. A lot of people are bearish about CPI because of the last reading. We have a put call ratio now that is above 1. We have people that are, buying as many puts as there are calls in Nvidia. So when Nvidia makes a big downward move, people try to short the crap out of it. And right now they are going underwater. A lot of these people that shorted right here, well, they were in the money for a second, but you'll notice now we're back up here moving sideways. These people are all, decaying. Their stuff is deteriorating right now. And if this just breaks to the upside, they could get squeezed and then have to reverse their position. So a lot of the time when I am kind of like this could go either way and I want to make the play, Robert, I will, oh yeah, strangle position, both of you guys. Okay, so a lot of the time I will take a hedge. So if I think that tomorrow is going to be bullish, I will take a trade. I will take a trade based on the structure and the technicals. I will find the stock with the technicals and take a trade. But to counteract that trade, I might go and take a short on something that's more volatile. Okay, so I might say, hey, I'm going to buy calls on Meta, and I'm going to put a higher percentage of my options portfolio to Meta, but just in case to balance that out and break even the next day if something dramatic happens, I'm going to short AMD. Something like that is something very good. And I can also, with the smaller amount, I can short AMD further out of the money so that if a big drop happens, that money multiplies and I might actually make money off the deal if I'm able to get out of the Meta trade that I took calls to the upside. That's something that I do. Now, I've also in the past, I've taken a bullish trade and I've just taken a couple contracts in calls in the SPXS. I've taken calls in that as some kind of hedge. I actually did that last week and it only made like I think like $150. But I was like, hey, that was my hedge. Now I can apply that money to the call if the structure still looks good. And the structure still looked good. I added money into you guys know I was playing AMD. I added money to my AMD play at that point, and I was able to make a good chunk of money going into Friday. We talked about that. And then it's funny because by end of day on Friday, I saw a setup for AMD. I saw a setup for Meta, which I told you guys about the Meta one. Yeah, just be cautious. I would say don't try to make a hero play. What is the fastest way? We say this in the course, Robert. Maybe you can help them out. What is the absolute, and this goes to that taking profit at 200, not taking a maybe at 500. Once you have 200 profit, it's a good time to take it, right? If $200 can really help you out or grow your account. So, Robert, what is what we say in the course about shoot, I see this is where ADHD screws me. I just short the top. Oh, what is the fastest way to make money in the market? What is the absolute proven fastest way to make money in the market? It's very, very simple. We all have it, brother. That's what's up, Miles. Did you enjoy yourself? We're adding to it, Miles, by the way. I'm adding something to it. Robert brought something. He emailed me. I'm going to give a when to take a loss or when to get out of a trade section. We briefly touch on it for a moment as far as scaling in. Yeah, so the true answer is there is no fast way. There's luck, there's not luck, and then there is no real fast way. The actual fastest way, if you wanted there to be a way, the fastest way to make money in the market is the slow way, is to sit there, be the guy that takes profit when he has it. When he knows he's going to make $200, he takes it. When he knows he's going to make $1,000, he takes it. When he knows he's in the green, he takes it and he builds his account slowly over time, right? So when I tell you guys like, oh, I made money today, I'm not saying I made $20,000 today. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a building kind of guy. I'm a build money slowly because that's the fastest way. If I made $20,000 on a hero call, I would now think that I'm the best trader ever, and I need to keep doing that. I need to do that trade again. And then that goes the wrong way on me. I lose, a big amount of money, maybe $5, $10, $15,000. Instead, I sit and I make little $1,000 here, little $1,000 there. That's my play. And guess what? It works for me. So the slow way is the fast way. The fastest way to make money in the market, we've said it in videos before, is the slow way. Take your profit when you're in the green. I mean, hell, you guys, a lot of people would probably do better if they just didn't trade around earnings, didn't trade around CPI. Like, you probably would do a lot better if you just did that. But hey, there was the last little get up for you. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members. Thank you so much to all my subscribers here that joined in today. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourself with these live videos. We're going to get back into it. Looks like this 30-minute is about to cross. We're going to get back into it later tonight. Okay, so join back for YouTube. Base hits put you into the Hall of Fame. I don't know exactly what that means, Scott, but I'm going to take it as positivity. All right. No, but thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for your questions on the course, and hopefully this was a good lesson to everyone who's thinking about taking the course or has taken the course. We're going to add to it if we see things as important. We're going to always be adding whatever we see as helpful, and you notice that when someone brings something to my attention, I am here to talk to you guys about it. I am Robert for the most part. When I do set up one-on-ones with people, I would highly encourage that if you need some more help moving forward, and I would encourage that overall. So hopefully some people are interested in some one-on-one help. But I don't want the course or anything like that to be, I'm in the dark now, I take the course, I'm out. No, I really want it to be worth something, because I can tell you myself, I've probably taken $2,000 worth of stock courses. A lot of the information I thought was kind of useless. So I took the bits and pieces that I know work for me, and I put it together for you guys to help you understand these indicators and help you understand divergence and things. So really want to be helpful on this channel. That's the overall goal. I wish you guys all the luck in the world trading. as far as the whole week goes, as far as the whole month of March goes, I think we're going to get some crazy price action. So be willing to trade like water. You know, make money the slow way, because the slow way is the fast way in the market. And I hope you guys have a fantastic, fantastic day. Oh yeah, Ron Walker. Yeah, I've been watching him too lately. He's pretty good. I really like his trend lines and things like that. And I like that he's not scared to give his opinion. Like he just will be like, he will literally just be like, we're gonna see a top in the next 5 days. And I'm like, damn, like we damn, that's some hardcore stuff to do. Like that takes some balls. Sometimes I'm that ballsy, but damn, that's kind of crazy. But hey, all the luck in the world to you guys today. I hope you have a great, great rest of your day. Peace.